All right, welcome on in to another episode of DCU Daily and Also Curious, the first one of the week. We're a little bit late because we had some technical issues at the very top, and then I kind of messed up the intro a little bit. So you guys got to sit there for 30 seconds watching that countdown, but you know, we build the hype. That's how we do it. So anyway, well, we have a packed show today. It was a packed weekend. From the Doctor Who finale to everything that went down at CCXP, a million different trailers came out. Of course, Netflix did their TUDUM event, which is like their own little Comic-Con, so we have to talk about that. Peacemaker, of course, we have to get into all the DC stuff. We had a huge Peacemaker drop at CCXP and some new featurette footage. There's a lot of questions that James Gunn and John Cena answered, maybe even giving away some spoilers potentially. We'll talk about that for Peacemaker, as well as, of course, the ramifications of all of that on Superman. And speaking of Superman, we have some early tracking information at the box office. What is the opening weekend going to look like? How reliable is this information? It's been swirling on the internet over the weekend. I kind of saw it on Friday. We didn't talk about it though because Bridget and I we decided to kind of skip that and wait to kind of basically, see if any of the tracking information that was being put out there was good or not. But, we have put the pieces together and we will talk about it. We'll assess how legitimate those numbers are and if we can rely on them. So to do that and so much more, as always, let's hit that news intro and get the show started.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always the number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
You're
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right. Well, like I said, we've got a lot of trailer reactions to get into. Lady Gaga performed at TUDUM over the weekend. And DC, we're going to dissect the heck out of that Peacemaker teaser that they put out there. New footage, some looks at maybe other alien species joining up in the DCU. The show looks a lot bigger than we all thought it was in the beginning. But you know what? The first thing I've got to do is we've got to welcome on back. John, he was on a mission for the last week. He has finished his mission. He is returning to the show. And, well, let's welcome on back the man whose friend told him not to watch Daredevil Born Again. The man who, does not like Ryan Reynolds' antics. But, he's a big fan of DC. And he's also a big fan of Doctor Who. So let's bring him back into the show, shall we? Welcome back, John. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Yeah, great to be here. Yeah, hi, how you doing? Just needed a little break. Didn't want to burn out totally. Wanted to give you the best possible stuff I could give you. So I was like, you know what? Let me just calm down for a bit, and then come back. Glorious return. Here we go. I have my Harry Potter butterbeer goldfish. So if you hear that, I apologize, but I'm going to be eating because I am a fat sack of shit. So, here we are. Let's get the party started. It's going to be a long show. You should see the rundown. It's like, I'm pretty sure the Epic of Gilgamesh is shorter than that goddamn rundown. So
yeah, I had to set it in parts. There were, we had to give it the Harry Potter treatment. We had to have a part 1 and a part 2.
Okay, this is my new nickname, guys.
Yeah. Well, we have something else for that. We have something else for that. There we go.
Yeah. It's a little mangy. I gotta give it a trim, but there it is. Okay, nobody should see me in tight spandex. It's a line I don't cross. No. Let's not do that. Just have the double stroking action, and we're good to go. Hey, you know what? I'll take her over Taylor Swift and Katy Perry at this point. Like, sure. Anyway, all right. This intro's like 5 minutes.
Yeah. You're right. But Steven watched Mission Impossible over the weekend. That was my mission.
Great.
I unfortunately failed in my mission to watch Mission Impossible over the weekend because, I was tired, and then also just other things were going on. But I will get to it. We gotta turn that track off. All right, okay. Well, John,
I saw Karate Kid though. I think we already did a review of that. So
you did. I'm sure. Which channel did you do that on? Was that on the Geek Informant or the Cool Kids?
No, well, I did one on the Cool Kids, but I don't really do movie reviews on my personal channel all that much.
Well, you know what? We're going to review The Karate Kid tomorrow because Liz is going to be here and the two of you guys can talk about it. We're also going to review like 5 other movies Liz has seen. So tomorrow's going to be a review heavy show. Today is a lot of reactions to everything.
Well, I mean, reactions to trailers. We're reviewing trailers. I mean, that's reviewing, I guess.
Yeah, just not movies, but just trailers. But you know what, John? The first thing we want to go over is one of the biggest news in all of sci-fi because, of course, you wait for when they announce the new James Bond. We all go crazy and with our critiques when they announce a new Batman. But in the long-running tradition of, a franchise where they're constantly recasting for new generations, new eras, sometimes it could be years apart, decades apart. Sometimes it could be only a couple of years apart, which was the case this time around because Ncuti Gatwa has now officially left Doctor Who at Disney Plus and the BBC. And there was a bit of a twist to the regeneration sequence because, of course, if you guys aren't familiar in Doctor Who, the way things go, whenever one Doctor actor leaves, in canon, the Doctor is able to regenerate, and so he kind of has this glowing particle thing happen, which then he turns it from one actor to the other, and that's how you find out who the next actor to take on the role is going to be. But this time around, there was a bit of a surprise. So we went from Ncuti Gatwa to Billie Piper, and if you guys remember Billie Piper, she of course. Well, she was the assistant to the Christopher Eccleston version of Doctor Who.
David Tennant, yes.
And David Tennant, like basically the first iteration of the modern Doctor Who, Christopher Eccleston, and then of course David Tennant after that. So Billie Piper, of course, had a big career for herself in the 90s, as a singer and stuff, but like as an actress too. And she's been a part of the franchise for a long time. But now, I mean, I guess the implication might be that she is the new Doctor. But then also, Ncuti Gatwa on his way out saying it was a bittersweet farewell to Doctor Who. After 2 seasons, he was ready and thought that it was time to hand over the keys to that beloved blue box. John, are you as surprised as most people were that Billie Piper is coming back potentially as Doctor Who? So I guess I'll ask you a multi-part question here. The first one being, what do you think about Ncuti Gatwa's run as Doctor Who? The fact that he's leaving after 2 seasons. I mean, care to speculate why? Was it just the right time? Or was there anything else behind it? Because we have talked about Doctor Who in recent past, the ratings perhaps being down a bit off of the highs of the
It didn't end.
Era
It just
stuff.
moved on to from one actor to another.
We're moving from one era to the other. And then, of course, tell me about the Billie Piper thing. Like, what do you think about that whole situation? Is she going to be the new Doctor? So.
I have not seen the newest season. I saw the Christmas special, and I've seen a little bit of the first episode. From watching one season, it became pretty popular in America during the Matt Smith era. That's when it got like really, really popular in America. Not really popular, still like a niche sci-fi show, but more popular than being like this super duper tiny like sci-fi niche thing. But from what I've seen of Ncuti, I think he's a great Doctor. He's a very human and emotional Doctor, which I thought was an interesting choice. I think he definitely had the zaniness. He had kind of the million mile a minute, but like you trust him and he feels like the smartest man in the room. He has a bit of an ego. He kind of has like a lot of different elements, but also felt fresh and new. So Ncuti, I think did a great job with that. I think now the thing is, since I didn't watch the show, I don't know the context of this season. I just know that Belinda Carlisle, played by that actress, I don't know the name of the actress, but she's the new companion. And now there was like a whole bunch of reports for like months and months and months that there was like a falling out between Ncuti Gatwa and Russell T Davies, and he was leaving because of that. We don't know if that is really the case, because Christopher Eccleston has remained vocal about his treatment during Doctor Who, and even though he loves the franchise and loves the fans and has become at peace with that, he still absolutely despises Julie Gardner and Russell T Davies, because he felt that what they did to him was very personal, and he pretty much ruined his working relationship with that. We don't know if that's the case here, or if like he just thought, oh yeah, 2 seasons, I'm done, which is not really all that common. Usually it's 3 seasons, 3 years, and then they move on. The only other Doctor to have 2 seasons was Colin Baker back in the 80s, and that was because he was forced to quit. He was fired because they thought that that the show was like bad because of him, and even though that was not the case, it was mainly the writing at the time. So it's interesting how he left after only 2, but I think he did a great job. Now, in terms of the next Doctor, I think it's probably one of the dumbest things they could have done. I don't love I don't love Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, and I still don't love the fact that David Tennant came back as not just like, oh, he's the 10th Doctor again, and for whatever reason, No, he was just the 14th Doctor for some reason, because they never really explained that. I think it was like because of the toy maker. I think it was like, oh, he needs to like be with Donna again, and like the universe had to make it happen. They were kind of unclear with that. But even though I still think he did a great job, and I still love those 3 specials, mainly the latter 2, the Giggle and the Wild Blue Yonder were very good. The first one, Star Beast, was not that great. I think Billie Piper as the Doctor is just, now obviously we can't judge her yet because we've only gotten that like one little bit of like post regeneration, like, I'm the Doctor, hello. So we can't really judge her, but it's just like, this just similar to my thoughts on David Tennant coming back. It just absolutely screams desperation from the BBC, from Russell T Davies, and maybe even Disney Plus. Maybe they pushed for it. I don't know. There's a lot of like conflicting shit on if Disney Plus only gives them a budget and like a place to stay, because where Doctor Who is like insane. Like Classic Who is on Tubi and BritBox, but seasons but Christopher Eccleston to Jodie Whittaker is only available on Max, and then the Disney Plus stuff is only David Tennant, Ncuti, and what's soon to be Billie Piper. So it's with the rights managing and the licensing is honestly insane. But this is just, I feel like a very dumb thing to do. It just like, I can't imagine Billie Piper as the Doctor, and just saying that just makes me, as the kids would say, have the ick. And Billie Piper, she's a perfectly okay actress, but maybe I'm just biased because I don't like Rose as a companion. I think she was good with Eccleston, but she was not nearly as good with David Tennant. And the whole romance thing was a huge put off. And I feel like that's kind of a betrayal for the Doctor, but that's just me personally. And I think this is, am I going to watch it? Probably. And I'm probably going to complain the whole time, but it just, I can't imagine this is the thing. This is like the tip of the iceberg, in terms of like Doctor Who getting canceled again. Cause I can't imagine I understand ratings. I know everyone's like, oh, the ratings suck. It's like, well, the ratings are different from like 20 years ago to now. Like it's not a thing anymore for these shows to get like 10 million or 7 million an episode. It, now it's like 2 to 4 million, and that's not bad. Those are not bad numbers. But it's just, as Caleb said, it's very lazy. But it's just, the thing about it is like, oh, we're casting this actress who used to be a companion now, but now she's the Doctor. It just, all the fans I have seen, like super hardcore Doctor Who fans, British Doctor Who fans, are like, this is so dumb. This is ridiculous. This turned a great season of Doctor Who into a mockery. I don't like the direction this is going. I haven't. Now, I'm sure there are a couple people that like it. But it's just like, from what I've seen, people just hate it. People just hate it. And that's all I've seen. And I don't personally like it. Now, I can't comment totally on it because I've not seen most of the season. I've only watched that little bit, as I mentioned. But this is a very dumb decision, I feel. I can only imagine that, like, it's going to get canceled. I'll give it maybe 2 more seasons at the most. I don't know what the contract is for Disney Plus and the BBC. But I'm going to take a wild guess that this is going to cancel the show. One of 2 things is going to happen. Russell T Davies is going to get fired, or the show is going to get canceled. But this is just, I don't think Doctor Who is dead. It's one of those shows. It's one of those franchises that's just, I feel like nowadays, unkillable. It's not like James Bond where it's like, oh yeah, that franchise is absolutely dead in the water. Like this, I think, cancel it for like similar to what you did last time, 10, 20 years, and then bring it back with another fan who knows what to do with the show and do that. But for right now, I would say if you're really interested, keep watching. If you're not, stop watching, because I can't imagine that the show will survive longer, because this was a very ridiculous and dumb decision from them.
Well, Jose, we promise not every conversation will be as long, but like, look, I think as far as Doctor Who goes, John, I know you're very passionate about the franchise, and I think, like you mentioned, they've made a lot of short-term decisions in recent years that are kind of head-scratching, and I think this decision, maybe more than any other ones they have done in recent years since they got the Disney Plus deal, goes to show you the Disney influence on the franchise. Because I think people worried when Disney Plus got those licensing rights, that they were probably going to be a little more heavy-handed. And I think in the beginning, we were like, okay, well, Disney Plus is kind of letting them do their thing. I feel like now that pressure is being put on because Disney Plus obviously they're seeing the ratings decline. And the reason for that could be a multitude of things. You mentioned in the 80s, there was a Doctor Who, actor who was ousted because supposedly they thought he was the one to blame, right? It's like, I mentioned at the very top, like James Bond, Batman, right? We have always, like, Ben Affleck left the role because of all the controversy around the DCEU. I mean, and then he came back and said, I had a great time being on The Flash. I finally understood what the character was all about. But then he has mentioned,
even though the suit was terrible.
Yeah, well, but even though, in the time since, he's kind of talked either really positive or really negative. But then you also have other instances, like, some people really, really love Roger Moore's Bond after Sean Connery. Some people thought it was a complete departure, like they were 2 polar opposites. And so, or Daniel Craig, some people really loved. I think he's the best Bond ever. Some people think he's the least Bond ever. So, like, there's, for any franchise that has been on and around long enough, Star Wars, Star Trek, anything like that, the opinion divides. And then you can see here that they're trying to steady the ship. Whether the decision to bring in Billy Piper as the new Doctor does it, who knows? But like you said, John, if the ratings continue to decline, eventually they'll make a business decision, which will likely end up being that maybe they'll shelve the show for a while, or at least, maybe put it away on the shelf for a little bit while they reshuffle their decks and maybe get a new showrunner. So, guys, let us know in the chat down below what you think. If you're watching live, let us know in the live chat. If you're watching after the fact, get in the comments. Tell us what you think about the Ncuti Gatwa. I don't even know am I pronouncing that name correctly? But let us know.
It's Ncuti. It's Ncuti.
Ncuti Gatwa. I'm so sorry about that, but like Ncuti Gatwa leaving after just 2 seasons, which is definitely at least one less than the usual. And well, Billy Piper, who used to be like one of the companions, is now becoming Doctor Who, and which is fairly unprecedented, at least in the modern era of Doctor Who. So let us know what you think about that, and we'd love to hear from you if you are Doctor Who fans. We will continue to cover the franchise as they move forward in the new direction. But in the meantime, we had to switch focus because, yeah, I mean, today is a packed show. And as we always do on Mondays, I mean, by the time we're done with the show today, it's going to be Tuesday on the East Coast at least. But as we always do at the start of the week, we will talk about the weekend box office report. So, John, as it looks like this past weekend, while we had Karate Kid Legends, be basically the big new movie of the weekend, while the Phoenician Scheme came out in limited release, and there's a few other smaller ones, the Karate Kid Legends was the big movie. It had an opening weekend tracking number, which I think initially was at like 30 to 40 million. Then the reviews came out, and the reviews are very middling from the critics. So the tracking went down. And then obviously the previous weekend, you had Mission Impossible, and even more so, Lilo and Stitch come out, and they went bonkers at the box office on Memorial Day weekend. So we ended up in a situation where you had these like 2 trains just running wild into the second weekend with Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch. Both movies are still being promoted heavily by the studios that made them. And all of a sudden, Karate Kid Legends was already facing headwinds because of the middling reviews. But then when you combine that with Lilo and Stitch still out there, Sinners still even doing well, Final Destination, Thunderbolts still out there, as well as, of course, like I mentioned, Lilo and Stitch, Mission Impossible. So with all of that in its way, John, it looks like Karate Kid Legends got its butt whooped, or well, they got kicked around, as they say in this headline, by Lilo and Stitch Mission Impossible with a soft $21 million box office opening. So I'm not going to go over some of the other numbers, and we can provide a bit of context. So real quick, of course, Lilo and Stitch itself flew to over $610 million globally in just, what is it, like 10 days of release, basically, 10, 11 days of release. It's made more money now than Captain America 4. It's made more money than the new Avengers, aka Thunderbolts, and maybe by this time next week it would have made more money than the 2 of those Marvel movies combined. It's certainly doubled, but and more than doubled what Snow White did. Mission Impossible also crossing $350 million, as well as Sinners doing the same, which Sinners has been around now for like 2 months. So you look at those numbers, you look at where Karate Kid was. I mean, $63 million second weekend for Lilo and Stitch puts it in the top 10 for the biggest opening weekend. If that was its opening weekend, it would still be in the top 10 of the year, even though it's its second weekend, because this opening weekend was already like a record-breaking number. And then Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible is ruling the Chinese box office. It came in like 2 at the Korean box office, I saw as well, pulling in around like 25.6 million in China. And in Korea, the only movie that beat it at the number 1 was like a local movie that came out. So you look at it, it's still a Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible world, and I guess Karate Kid Legends are just gonna survive. John, what do you think about these numbers? Were you surprised to see how far, like, it was tracking for 30 to 40 and came in at 21? Like it almost half of what people thought it would make Karate Kid Legends. Do you think it was all the reviews, or like I mentioned, was it also the fact that Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible, but mostly Lilo and Stitch, were just running their way through the competition?
Yeah, I mean, this makes sense. Like, Karate Kid is not a big enough franchise to go up against the juggernaut of Disney and the juggernaut of Tom Cruise's ego. Like, that, we knew that was like, even, it's a week later, that didn't matter. That this was going to get torched no matter what, even if it was like the best Karate Kid movie ever made. So,
Which, I mean, the reviews aren't that high. I mean, the audience rating is better. I think the last I checked, the audience rating was somewhere in the 80s, but the critics rating was like 50 something. So
yeah, but the critics are fucking stupid. So like, what the fuck do they know? They like gave good reviews to like Beau is Afraid. What the like? They're stupid. Like, whatever. So
tell us how you really feel.
I mean, I saw the movie. Spoiler alert, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. Crazy, I know, like, you can like enjoy things without like thinking it's like going to be like win a fucking Best Picture Oscar. But I mean, this is this was going to be lined up from the beginning. We all knew that this was like going to get like torched, even if it was like the greatest reviews ever. But you know, I mean, is it as good as Cobra Kai or the first two movies? No, but it's like it's better than fucking 3 and the next Karate Kid and probably the remake. But yeah. So yeah, that's just, we knew this was going to happen. Because it's like Disney expecting like Indiana Jones to get like $1 billion. It's like, that's just ridiculous, because Indiana Jones, despite being a great franchise, was never $1 billion franchise. It was always a, you know, good franchise, but it never was like a huge moneymaker. So that's like, oh my God, the movie that had, you know, the director throwing tantrums on Twitter and, you know, having like huge production problems, and our, you know, action star being like old enough to be in a nursing home. Wow, crazy that failed. So yeah, we knew this was going to happen, and it sucks, but like it's still a
yeah. By the way, I just want to say hello. I don't think we said hello to everybody in the chat. Jalen, Swag Fan, you got Jose in there, figure drawing. Caleb is here, of course. More Katna is watching. Hunter is here as well. So hello to everybody watching. Steven, of course, said hello earlier. We are saving a couple of your comments about box office or Superman for later in the show, but yeah, I mean, John, as you can see there, 91% popcorn meter rating, so that's 1,000 plus verified ratings from people who went and saw the movie and then rated it as pretty high. So from my understanding, this, and then we're going to talk about this in more detail tomorrow when we review the film, but my understanding is this movie leans heavy on nostalgia. It's not perfect, and I think the critics rating is a little bit lower, like 59%, which I guess it's just 1%, you know, off of the mark where it would be a tomato versus a splat. So it's right on the edge of being like positive for Rotten Tomato standards, but still 59% of the critics liked it. So that is a majority, even though it's a slight majority. So it looks like if you're going into it with that sense of nostalgia about the franchise, you'll enjoy it and have a good time. But maybe from a structural standpoint, the way it was written, it wasn't, you know, what the critics would have wanted to see. And yeah, I mean, Jose, that's a good question. I've heard that, yeah, Daniel-san does not show up till like the third act, which I think maybe disappointed a number of people who thought he was going to be there the whole time. But yeah. Christopher McQuarrie, Superman movie, John. Yeah, we will. You know what? I'll save that one for later, Caleb, because we did talk about that on Friday, or late last week with Bridget and I, but you want to get John's opinion on it. One other thing I was going to quickly point out is you look at where it stands right now. It made more money internationally, so that's good. It's off to a start of like 46.3 million.
It already made its budget back, so like,
yeah,
good for them.
What is the budget for the movie? Was it like 40? Oh,
it was 45 million.
45 million. 45. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not profitable yet. It needs to make probably at least 100 odd million to get there, but the fact that it's off to that kind of a start, I'm imagining that it's gonna get there. So it's not gonna be a movie that loses money, but I feel like when you saw the first trailer for it come out and then the second trailer, I really thought this movie could have been one of those runaway hits. Can you imagine if this movie made like $400 or $500 million if it was actually as good as that first trailer especially made it look out to be? So I'm kind of surprised by that, but I mean, hey, again, like I mentioned, Lilo and Stitch, you know, 610 million. Minecraft is petering out around 950 million for the year, so that's not going to reach $1 billion. Do you think Lilo and Stitch is now well on its way? In less than 2 weeks' time in release, it's already made $610 million. Do you think it's only a matter of time now that it gets to the $1 billion mark?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that was going to happen, so yeah, makes sense.
I 100% agree with you. I think so too. I mean, I was trying to figure out like
whether it deserves it, we don't know, but like I haven't seen it, so I can't judge.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the numbers right now.
And remember, kiddos, Ohana means jack shit.
Look at the numbers, dude. Like, look at how much it's made. 279 million almost in just the domestic box office. That is crazy. Meanwhile, if I do a quick search on Mission Impossible, which has the long name. Oh, there we go. I guess they're helping me out here. 353. That's a good number. I mean, clearly that's one of those movies that is making a lot more money internationally because this is one of those franchises that the people love around the world. That's why Tom Cruise is going everywhere to promote this movie. He's giving up your phone. Okay, Caleb. But yeah, I mean, hey, it's the runtime of Mission Impossible as well. It's almost 3 hours, which I think hurts it a little bit. Whereas, you know, Lilo and Stitch, if I looked at that correctly, was a lot shorter. Yeah, an hour 48 minutes. It's a much breezier ride, closer to the comparison of Barbenheimer, because whereas Oppenheimer was like 3 hours, Barbie was like 2 hours, so very close on that level. You know, Minecraft success is lightning in a bottle. It doesn't happen very often, so. But it happened with Barbie. We have a Mattel story later in the show we're going to talk about, which is kind of related to Barbie. John, some people don't want live action versions to be a copy and paste version of the animated version, says Figure Drawings.
Well, yeah.
That's true. I've heard
but
that
also
the changes they made were pretty good,
mishandling the
though.
themes and messages of the original film also kind of dog shit. I'm just saying.
Fair enough. Well, the big news, of course, was the weekend box office. Karate Kid Legends, the new movie on the block, the new kid on the block, got its butt whooped by Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible, which is fair enough. Even Sinners is doing well still. Now, with that in mind,
Also,
of course, next weekend it's going to be interesting.
I just like to point this out. I'm literally just joking. I understand the ending. It's just like I don't like how they got rid of characters and then like changed other characters to help quantify that. Very dumb. I can't judge the movie. I haven't seen it. I don't like any of the live action remakes. They all suck to me, except for like Jungle Book, Cinderella, and like maybe Pete's Dragon. But it's low hanging fruit at this point. It's an easy thing. It's an ongoing joke. It's an easy thing to make fun of. I understand she has the portal gun. It's a different way of showcasing the message, but in the end, the animated movie will always be superior no matter what people say.
I mean, it's the animated movie. I've heard people say like it's still the better movie, but people do appreciate the ending here. It's for a live action movie, it fits better.
Yeah, Cinderella is number one, 100%. That and Jungle Book.
I mean, for me, the best live action one is the Beauty and the Beast. I think that's the one. Which, I mean, Figure Drawing asking about it. I think for one that Beauty and the Beast is the best live action adaptation Disney has done to date. Cinderella's up there though. Cinderella's definitely up there. On some days I flipped it too.
I liked it initially, but then it kind of got worse for me as time went on. It just kind of wasn't. You wasted Audra McDonald, guys. Like, come on. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? You wasted Jonathan Groff in Frozen. You wasted Audra McDonald in the live action Beauty and the Beast. What the hell's wrong with you, Disney? Come on. Step up your game.
Yep. Well, as it looks like right now, just where the year stands, Neja 2, which I don't know if I believe those numbers, but it's the highest grossing movie of the year so far, but basically around $2 billion. Minecraft movie second. Lilo and Stitch already having climbed to third. I have a feeling in a couple of weeks we might be looking at Lilo and Stitch.
Dog Man still at number 10. So, let's fucking go.
I have a feeling Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning will at least cross the Thunderbolts number. It might actually probably. You know what? I'm willing to bet that it goes past Captain America: Brave New World as well. And the fact that you're seeing Sinners up there in the top 7, certainly part of the top 10, that's great. Dogman, love the fact that Dogman is up there. But I have a feeling a lot of these movies are going to start to get buried a lot farther down because coming up this weekend, I mean, hey, let's see what Karate Kid is able to do. Can it hang on to what little money it's going to make? I mean, how much will Lilo and Stitch affect Ballerina? We will continue to talk about that because, of course, we will, get into more of that as the weeks go on. Because this coming weekend and then the week after that and the week after that, we're basically in the summer movie season. So it's only going to get better and better from here in terms of having a good movie, if not a great movie to watch, or multiple great movies to watch every weekend at the box office. No, thank you, Figure Drawing. I do believe the Beauty and the Beast is the best one. Well, Enterprising, that's a good point, but you know what? That's a philosophical argument about Disney live action remakes you can make all day long. But they make money, so I guess at the end of the day, that is the point. So that is the point. Enterprising enjoyed the 101 Dalmatians movies. Apps, I love those. The Jungle Book movie was fantastic, although mostly animated, but still technically live action. Yeah, they had a real kid in there. Aladdin, I didn't like the Aladdin one as much. I mean, I'm more with Hosea. I mean, I don't know if I hated it, but I didn't like it. No worries, Monique. You're here. It's all right. We got you. And
You're here. You're here. You're queer. Get used to it.
Exactly. But you know what? We have
In
only
honor
just
of the
started.
month.
You have only yeah, exactly. It's LGBTQ awareness month. So there you go. Well, guys, let us know what you think about the box office weekend. Did you expect Karate Kid Legends to do as bad? Not badly, but not as well as it could have, because it was initially tracking 30 to 40 million dollars, finished up at 21 million. Lilo and Stitch made 63 million, triple the amount, literally. And Mission Impossible is still doing well, and Sinners crossing 350 million at the box office too. So what did you think about it? Did you go to see any of those movies? If you did, then let us know in the comments down below. In the meantime, we will move on to the next thing, because now we're going to dive into the weekend that was Netflix's TUDUM. So as you guys might know, TUDUM is Netflix's big, like, I don't know what you want to call it, their Comic-Con, their own like upfront. I mean, they do upfront separately for like advertisers, but is their big event where they showcase everything, all the big franchises that they have coming out every year. So John, we have to get into what they did at this weekend's event, because it was star-studded, as you can see here. Look at everybody on the red carpet. You got Matt Damon and Ben Affleck there. You have Mila Kunis there.
Matt Damon.
I don't know who these guys are. Oscar Isaac is there. Of course, Kerry Washington. I forget the name of this actor. He's of course the lead of the Squid Game show. And Monique said it was kind of meh. Well, we'll talk about it. Let's kind of break it down. We have a few things to discuss. There's CM Punk. It's Clobberin time, representing WWE and Monday Night Raw and all their programming. Of course, more cast members from Squid Game. You got Jenna Ortega there, because Wednesday they put out a new trailer for that. And a lot of other actors. I mean, of course, the cast of Stranger Things, because the 5th and final season is finally on the way. Ayo Edebiri has a couple of projects up with Netflix as well. Of course, there's more WWE wrestlers out there as well. So let's dive into the list of things they announced, because I pulled up this article from Mashable. I think they did a good job of sort of summarizing everything we saw.
I just realized that the TUDUM is their sound. I just realized that
just now. Wow. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like when you click onto, it's like that's what it is.
Yeah, I was like TUDUM. That's a fucking stupid title, and then I'm like, oh, it's their TUDUM. Boom.
Yes. TUDUM. That's just say it out loud, or like say it in your head. That's what it is. They didn't broadcast from everywhere. Yeah. I mean, I guess they probably thought that was a little too over the top. So there you go. But hey, let's dive into it, shall we? So the very first thing, let's talk about Lady Gaga and Jenna Ortega, I should say, and Wednesday season 2, because it looks like Lady Gaga will have, she's gonna cameo, I believe, in the new show, in the new season of the show. Let me see if I can pull up the Wednesday trailer article. There we go. So they released the first 6 minutes of the show, John. I think you and I both checked out a little bit of it. We haven't seen the entire 6 minutes. Lady Gaga was confirmed for the guest role. She actually came out and performed 2 songs at the event itself. Were you impressed by what they showed for Wednesday season 2? It's a long time coming. It got delayed by a year, I believe, but it's finally arriving, and it's looking like a big year for Netflix with all these big franchises. So what did you think about Wednesday season 2 and what they showed, the first 6 minutes of the show?
Cool.
Well, the first, they're going to release the season in 2 parts. First part of it is going to come out August 6th. Then the second half drops on September 3rd. So if you guys are interested, I mean, hey, that August first part is going to be here in no time. And of course, they did put up the video of the Lady Gaga performance online, so you guys can check it out. I think actually I might have it in here somewhere. Oh, wait, that's a different thing. We're going to move on. Okay. Well, John, the end of Stranger Things is finally upon us. So that's the next thing. You've got what was essentially a date announcement, as you can see there in the thumbnail. Like, they didn't really tell us much more than the fact that, hey, this is when we're going to release the show. And as it turns out, we're going to get it in 3 parts. The kids look like full-ass adults at this point. I mean, they're
Yep.
having to de-age
I mean, they are
them
full
for
ass
these
adults,
flashbacks.
pretty much.
I mean, they are. They literally are. But I mean, also this particular video that they played, this teaser, basically was like a clip reel of everything from past seasons. They didn't really show us much of anything from the new season, but you can see Volume 1 comes out November 26th. Then let's see, let me kind of play that out here. Volume 2 comes out on Christmas, and then Volume 3,
the finale comes out on New Year's
Eve. So
you gotta really
that's the
stretch that
schedule.
shit. It's like,
Well, I think
okay,
they're doing
if
it
it's gonna
because
be
remember,
that close together, then why not just fucking release it all on the same day? Like, I don't get it.
I think the reason why they're, by the way, I can't wait for random 80s songs to become popular again too. Kid Bush, I hope to bring that song back. That version of the song still chills up and down my spine. But I will say the reason why they're splitting this up is a good thing. I believe so, because what they're getting now is they're starting to understand if you release the whole thing all at once, sure, people will talk about it, but only for so long. So they need to basically, release it in parts, because that way what we can get is the hype that keeps building. Remember the last time they did it in 2 parts? Or did they do it in 3 parts? Because I feel like the last episode was like a 3-hour movie, right? I don't even know. At this point, like it's insane. The longest episode of the TV show was like a 2.5 hour.
There's like rumors that, like, I remember there were initial rumors, I hope they're false, where it's like, oh yeah, the finale is gonna be like 4 hours long. It's gonna be Stranger Things, the
like
Snyder
that.
Cut or something.
But yeah, I mean, I think that, so they did split the last season, and obviously I think they did it because people are then talking about it for longer. I know, like, I remember this. Like, I remember watching the parts and then waiting for the last bit of it and just kind of getting hyped up. And then when it was about to come out, they released a trailer. Basically, you can just stay in the conversation on social media and with the fans for a lot longer. And considering this is the final season, I mean, I'm not surprised they're doing it this way, where they're breaking it up into 3 parts. Plus, it's the holiday season. This is going to be perfect. I mean, this show revolutionized streaming franchises in a way that I don't think Netflix or anybody, quite frankly, any streaming service had done before. This was like probably the first really big franchise Netflix developed in-house. It was also a show, if you guys remember, the creators of the show had pitched this around. The Duffer Brothers had gotten no's and rejections from a number of other, studios well before they ever landed at Netflix. Netflix took a chance on them. And I mean, now we have a Netflix that has Wednesday, that has Squid Game, that has, all the Adam Sandler stuff with Happy Gilmore and stuff and such. And then way more beyond that even. But Stranger Things was the first one, the first really big hit. I mean, House of Cards, and you have it like Orange is the New Black, but really neither of those broke into the cultural zeitgeist like Stranger Things did. So
because Stranger Things hit at the perfect point of it. Everyone was about 80s nostalgia, and this actually like did it very well. It had like,
and then the
ET
pandemic happened, and like it was
all that stuff.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Yeah. Yep. There we go. I felt the same way when Harry Potter and Smallville ended.
I mean, I didn't mind Running Up That Hill. I thought that was like a good song. I mean, Kate Bush was like, I never give my songs out to anybody, and then she did it for like the first time for this, and yeah, Madonna with the same thing with Deadpool and Wolverine. So like, they're getting cooler with their old age, but yeah, it just last season was just so bad. But like similar with the Bear.
Are you sure? I thought the last season was better than the season before it.
The thing is, similar to the Bear, if this wasn't the last season, I probably wouldn't watch it. But the fact that it's like, okay, this is the final season, I'll watch it. I'm not gonna like it, but I'm gonna watch it. Like, to be fair, the show hasn't been good since season 2. Like, I didn't like season 3. I didn't like season 4. I think what made it hurt even more was like the first episode of season 4 was so good, and then they just dropped the ball, and then the villain, what I felt was kind of dumb, and then now it's just like they're bringing back the villain of technically the second season, and it's just like, all right, cool, great, whatever.
Yeah.
Now I'm just kind of over it. I feel like they just don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, Jonathan is like a nothing character now. Everyone is in love with Finn Wolfhard for some reason. like Will is gay now, so it's like, that's cool, I guess. But it's where did that come from? And like,
no, but they were that one they were building up for a long time. I feel like that they kind of brought it to a head last season, and I think like he's why am I forgetting the name of the actor? He's talked about like his experience in real life too, like just kind of going through that with the audience members. It's I think it's timely as a storyline, but also like there were a lot of things that were like those kind of storylines that were simmering under the surface that they kind of like fast tracked. While like I think the development of some characters like Jonathan kind of got put to the side at the same time. So yeah, there were some balance issues, but like what Enterprising was saying, I loved the last season. Season 3 I think was a low point of the show. Season 1 and 2 are bangers. Season 3 was like sort of good, okay. Season 4 was amazing. I think season 5 could, and I remember when the thing people thought that was the best that Stranger Things has ever been. I mean, Joseph Quinn got himself a career out of that season. Come on now. It's so, yeah, the music has been fantastic. And Hosea saying, I assume Stranger Things was for kids, so I never watched it. Same reason I didn't watch One Piece. Well, we will talk about One Piece in a second as well, but Stranger Things, look, it's kind of like Harry Potter, right? Like the earlier parts are more for kids. Like, I mean, even then, I think you could be an adult and watch it and have your 80s nostalgia. But now, as you get to these latter seasons, you could definitely see it's meant for adult audiences as well as for kids, especially the horror aspects. So, yeah. But thank you, Caleb. So moving on to the next thing, John. We have a number of other announcements, of course, to get into. They did give us the star-studded cast of Knives Out 3 and also gave us a date announcement for that as well. So, this, of course, coming to us from Rian Johnson. They show us a bit of footage. You see Jeremy Renner right there, Mila Kunis. It is gonna look interesting, and I'm trying to find the casting image here. There we go. There it is. Like, look at these names, John. Look, you got Thomas Hayden Church, aka Sandman. You got Daryl McCormack, Kaylee Spaney, on Andrew Scott, Kerry Washington, Jeremy Renner, Mila Kunis, Josh Brolin, Thanos, aka Cable, Glenn Close, and of course Josh O'Connor, and at the very top of the pile, Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc. John, do you think this is the most star-studded cast for one of these movies? It seems like they're going a little more dark mystery-esque vibes, like old Agatha Christie vibes, as opposed to the second movie, which really, I think they tried something different there, which I get it worked for some people, maybe not for others, but it looks like this one.
I mean, I've never liked this franchise. I felt that the first one was very much like Rian Johnson trying to one-up, but also making fun of his audience, which I feel like he's been doing ever since The Last Jedi. So, like, it just feels like the first one was so middling, and it was like trying to be like this like clever satire, and then it just fell flat on its face, and it was so idiotic. When it was like, Clue is a much better murder mystery satire than this will ever fucking be. And like there was a the Brooklyn Nine-Nine episode with J.K. Simmons was a better satire of murder mysteries than this shit was. And then the second one was like, oh, look, our fucking murder mystery guy is like Elon Musk. Look how stupid he is. And it's just like, okay, this shit's like gonna be dated in like 2 years. And guess what? It is. So like, it just like, it feels like Rian Johnson is going after trends and buzzwords and just like really dumb. It just like, I'm so like Rian Johnson. He made Brick. He made Looper. What the fuck happened? Like, what happened to this dude? Did like Star Wars really just break his mind? Because that's what it feels like right now. That's what it feels like. And it's just like, and then Daniel Craig just looking like he's just tired of living at this point. Maybe that's who they're talking to. Wake up, dead man. It's like, hey, wake up, Daniel Craig. You gotta make a movie, man. Here's your paycheck.
He was in talks to join the Narnia movie. Like, there's that.
Yeah,
so.
That's gonna be dog shit too. So like, all right, great. But yeah, I just have no interest in this, and I don't like this franchise. I don't like Rian Johnson much anymore. He's a 2-hit wonder, and I think he needs to just kind of fuck off now.
Wow. Well, hey, you're really back on the show. I was like, I've missed your pessimism the past week. But yeah, I mean, look, the second movie I think was for me at least, a step down from the original Knives Out. So I'm really hoping that this is a return to form for them. And Wake Up Dead Man, call it what you want, a Knives Out mystery. I'm looking forward to seeing Benoit Blanc in a way that, again, this movie series has run in parallel to all the Agatha Christie remakes over with 20th Century, with Murder on the Nile or Murder on the Orient Express. I don't know if
Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile. Sorry, but like there's meant to be probably way more of those because like she wrote so many books. There's a number of other adaptations like it. Like Netflix is also making like seemingly AI derivative versions of mysteries, like murder mysteries, who done it. So they're a dime a dozen right now. But in that sea of mediocrity, Knives Out still tends to stand apart. Also, the last one that when it came out, they released it in theaters for a couple of weeks and it made a good amount of money. So I wonder if this movie's just going straight to Netflix or if they're gonna try it. I think they might be releasing it in theaters for a little bit as well. So we'll have to wait and see. By the way, Elite Easy is saying, welcome back, John. Enterprising saying such feelings. There you go. But yeah, hey, let's keep on going here. We have a few others to get into. So after Knives Out, let's talk about Squid Game 3, John. It looks just as brutal as the previous seasons, just as bloody. It feels a little bit repetitive because they bring them back in and they start the game again. But I'm like, are they really good? Like, at this point, I'm like, I hope they don't run it back. The fact that it's the final one, I'm guessing the plan here is that they're gonna have some kind of resolution. But John, what did you think about this? We're seeing some of the same characters because it's almost like they divided up season 2 and 3. Like there's one big story that is cut in half. So there is a continuation from where we left off directly at the end of season 2, whereas season 1 felt much more contained. So what do you think about this? This is going to be the big finale. It was the biggest show in the world when the first season dropped. Even season 2 did huge. The fact that season 3 is coming out literally like 6 months after. Are you in for it? Are you going to be watching it when it comes out?
No, because I haven't watched the first 2 seasons and I don't really care enough to watch it now.
All right, fair enough. Caleb saying he was watched season 1, it was fine. Well, I caught on to Squid Game late. Like I watched season 1 right before season 2 came out, then I watched season 2, and now of course I'm waiting for season 3. I for one thought that season 2 showed our main character like make a lot of dumb choices. Whereas season 1 you could really see an arc. And then season 2, I'm like, you had all that money and that's the best you can come up with, like the plan to take these guys down. Like, really? That's the best you can do? It's sort of like he was his own worst enemy. And I mean, of course, what happens in the finale, I'm not going to ruin it for you guys if you haven't seen it, but it gets pretty bloody and, a few people are lost along the way. But at least we established the faces, like, our main villains unmasked in season 2. So now we're finally going to get a conclusion. I'm glad that it's happening soon, because sometimes these shows could be on air and then be away for like 2 years at a time. So at least this time around, June 27th, we're gonna get the third and final installment of Squid Games. I'm looking forward to it because to me it looks interesting, it looks fun, and I just want to see if it delivers the goods, because I thought season 2 was a big step down. So I just want season 3 to do better. And yeah, I mean, between Wake Up Dead Man and Squid Game 3, you got 2 prequels coming out this year. So the suspense is great, but it shows how bad the cost is. Yeah, no, exactly. There's also this part of me, I'm like, there's a lot of social commentary, but it just, season 1 felt like at times they were just like killing people for the sake of killing people, and I don't like watching anything that glorifies violence for the sake of it. So but anyway, I digress. Squid Game 3, June 27th. The next thing, John, it's so cute. One Piece Chopper reveal. They gave us a look at the new character. He looks cute. Are you a fan of One Piece by any chance? Because season 2
No, I'm not really an anime fan, but yeah, it looks good, and I've seen One Piece fans that like it. Like all the comments are like, "Oh, hey, this episode looks really good." So I think people were like, "Oh my god!" People were shocked that like the One Piece show was like actually halfway decent. So they're like, all right, might as well continue watching this, I guess.
I heard the same. Like the One Piece, as well as a lot of anime that they've adapted to live action, it's a high bar, because it's also hard to do, because it's just the visuals of how they play, like how these stories play out, how these characters are portrayed in anime. It's hard to transition that to live action. I feel like Bollywood is a good example. Like they'd make shit like that looks like live action anime. So like if Hollywood needs any kind of inspiration, go watch what they're doing over there. But I think One Piece has been one of those like, few exceptions to the rule. And now, of course, we found out, John, Michaela Hoover from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and of course the upcoming season of Peacemaker, she is the one who's set
No,
to voice...
it's Superman. She's going to be in Superman.
No,
He's Cat Grant.
She? Oh, is she? Wait, am I confusing my... Oh, yeah, I am confusing. Never mind.
You're confusing her with Sil Rodriguez, who's playing Sasha Rodriguez.
They look alike.
Or Sasha Bordeaux. Sasha Bordeaux played by Sil Rodriguez.
It's just James Gunn has got me all twisted up with my name. So, but anyway, Michaela Hoover of Cat Grant, Superman, and of course she was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. She is going to be voicing the new character, the Tony Chopper, in season 2 of the Netflix series One Piece. So live action. I'm excited for this because I think the first season was better than most people expected. I still have to catch up, but then season 2 comes out soon, so then this gives me a little more motivation to do that. We've got Johnny in the chat. Hello, Johnny. How are you doing? So saying the One Piece live action series is okay, but it will never do justice to the anime. I agree with you. I think doing justice to the anime is going to be hard to pull off no matter what, because it's the stylistic thing. It's kind of like the reason why I think the live action Lion King is never going to beat the original one, because of how expressive the animation was, the animation style in the original movie. You can't beat that with what they were doing with the basically making like a National Geographic documentary style for the live action Lion King. I think the same thing applies to these animes, including One Piece. So the beauty of this lady can get anyone twisted up. I don't know. I'm just saying, man, like they also do look alike, actually, like, Michaela Hoover and Sasha Bordeaux. I've been watching that Peacemaker teaser to like get all the little Easter eggs out of that. So anyway, but how many seasons do you think One Piece can make in live action? That's a good question, Jalen. I have a feeling they get as far as maybe at most season 5. That's probably the ceiling. I mean, it's Netflix after all. I mean, for all we know, this might be it, or they might get a season 3 and then call it a day. I think a lot of shows on Netflix tend to average 2 or 3 seasons, but yeah, season 5 maybe is the ceiling. Caleb saying y'all thirst too much. She is a beautiful woman, so like, what can I tell you? Jalen saying I think live action helps sometimes not all introduce things to a new audience. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's also, you got to adapt it, right? Like you're not going to do it one for one because it's not going to look the same, play out the same way as it did in anime. I have been watching it, so I mean I've not seen the whole thing. I don't think there's many people out there who have seen the whole thing. But yeah, Monique is saying Netflix likes to cancel after season 3, which is true, which is very true. Yep, and Swag Fan agrees with the consensus there. But at some point, these actors get too old. Yeah, that's also true. So I mean, that's probably, but 3 seasons is not enough for people to get old. But we digress. 5 seasons, that's my take, man. Like it could go on for 20. I don't know. I'm just saying 5 seasons is probably where it's gonna go to. But anyway, let's get back to talking about the other announcements. John, I know you are excited about this because you have been looking forward to Frankenstein. It's a Guillermo del Toro movie. Guillermo del Toro going to Netflix. Netflix, you're greenlit. Is it one of those things where he just got the money and carte blanche? And most creators, when it comes down to it, they tend to go way over the top, like Todd Phillips did with Joker Follow You Do, and make something terrible. Do you think Guillermo del Toro is going to deliver? Like, of course, The Man Behind Pacific Rim and so many other, fantastic movies over the years. You put him at the highest tier for your tier list when we did that a couple of weeks ago. So where do you put this, teaser for Frankenstein?
I'm stoked. This looks amazing. The only thing that I'm worrisome about is I know everyone is like sick of Pedro Pascal and Timothée Chalamet. I'm not. I think they're great actors, so I think I'm sick of fucking seeing Jacob Elordi. Like, I'm sick of this dude. Like, I think he could kind of fuck off, and I feel like he's just like a pretty face. I don't think he's that great. From what I have seen of him, he doesn't seem that great of an actor. So this guy joins the pantheon of great Frankenstein monsters like Boris Karloff, hell, even Robert De Niro. You also Christopher Lee, like that. This dude is in a huge, and I mean huge, this dude is in a legacy all on his own, and I don't think he could fill those shoes. but luckily you do have other great people in the movie like Mia Goth and Oscar Isaac and Christoph Waltz. I think they will definitely prop this up. And it looks leaps and bounds better than whatever Maggie Gyllenhaal's fucking version, which looks just terrible. As you know, Caleb Underwood said, it's hashtag damaged. The hashtag damaged Frankenstein's monster. But I think, yeah, I just think, I think this looks legendary. This has his like gothic romantic style all over it. The stuff we saw in like Crimson Peak and Pan's Labyrinth and Devil's Backbone and Kronos, like this feels. Was Ron Perlman Frankenstein? Or yeah, no, you're tripping. I think you're just thinking of Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein. You think Ron Perlman would be the monster? No, it's the fuck nugget from a Euphoria. So yeah, I mean that's the only part that like has me like kind of iffy, especially when initially the monster was supposed to be played by Andrew fucking Garfield, but he had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts. So he was replaced by the dumb fuck Australian who's gonna help ruin Wuthering Heights. Great. But hopefully he can surprise me with this. I don't have any hope for him, but I do have. Yeah, I mean, Del Toro can, hopefully he's that good. I mean, David Fincher gave us a great performance from Tyler Perry. I think anything is possible with a great director. So that's my hope. I am hope to be proven wrong. And Del Toro is that good. He can pull a great performance out of this guy. But outside of that, I'm still like extremely excited for the tone. The idea is it's very different, but it feels like it holds on to a lot of things from the novel, but still doing its own thing. So yeah, like I'm super stoked for this, and I like how you don't see the creature fully as well.
Yeah.
But this looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait for this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Jacob Elordi is a great pick for this. I mean, Oscar Isaac is fantastic. I know Tony Gilroy wants to do something with Oscar Isaac. He's working on a script, so he's busy as ever and as in demand as ever. So, yeah, man. Australia catching strays. But I mean, Steven was asking a question. Do you believe my statement of this being a best picture at the Oscars? He was mentioning how this could be a contender for best picture. I mean, next year, Netflix always tries to get one of those two movies out every year where there could be a contender. John, do you think this trailer sold you on the idea, or do you still need to see more?
I don't know. I mean, they already gave him the award for Shape of Water. I think they're like, all right, you can kind of get the hell out of here, Del Toro. We gave you the Oscar. You can fuck off now. I don't think they're going to give it to this. I would want them to.
I mean, but John, like, that's not like that's how that works. That's not how the voting works. It's not like, oh, it's not the MVP voting. Like, it's just...
That's literally how it was. They thought Ray Fiennes already won, so they didn't want to give it to him, and they gave Adrian Brody one because they thought he didn't have one. Yes,
there were reports of a few people who did. I mean, yes, that's partly true, but it also matters like who the competition is, you know?
It's just like my standards for the Oscars are so fucking low at this point. They're in hell. Like they're in hell. Like at this point, because it's like they disrespect horror. They disrespect animation. Like it seems like they're going okay with the animation part because they gave it to some what was that like Latvian, whatever the fuck that like Danish movie like Flow. I forget where that was from, but it was some like Eastern European country.
Oh yeah, Flow.
Yeah, it's a popular like the fact that Anora won over Conclave is just like really. So yeah, it's just a popularity contest, and I feel like once in a blue moon they give it to a good movie like Parasite or Shape of Water. But I just exactly. So like it just depends who's lining the pockets, who's kissing the most ass. Well, that's just how it is each year. It's just like whatever movie is popular that month, that's the one that, because it's like everyone thought Conclave was going to win it, then everyone thought The Substance was going to win it, and then everyone thought Anora was going to win it, and that's what won because that was the popular thing. It was that month. So like it honestly, it depends. It's like a rolling thing at this point. It's like what's popular at the time. Anora. Okay, that wins
It's
it.
the recency bias too, which is I
Yeah,
think
the
it's
recency
normal though
bias.
because there's so many movies to see. I mean, at the end of the day, the people voting are also human, so there's always going to be some level of imperfection to the process. But I mean, hey, look, Frankenstein does come out later in the year, right? What was the date on this? I think they said it was like November 27th. Was it? Did I read that correctly? Let me see if I can find it. So let us know, guys, if you saw the date for this. But I believe they're lining it up for the award season, so we will probably get it at a time when it will then be considered. Hopefully for November. They didn't give it a date exactly, but they do say November.
It's just November.
November. So okay, yeah. So November is firmly in the Oscar season, right? Like that's exactly when, if you want to compete for an Oscar, that's when you want to release your movie. So I think they're going to get around the whole recency bias issue by just the fact that it's going to be coming out in November. They're probably going to give it a bit of a theatrical release so that it qualifies for the Oscars. And of course, it's going to be primarily on Netflix. So, yeah, well, let's just wait and see how it does. John, I do believe this was probably one of the best trailers, if not the best trailer of the weekend from TUDUM. So let's keep going, though, because we do have to now talk about the other big trailer,
I will say,
Gilmore 2. I
will say, I'm not the biggest Adam Sandler fan. I think he mostly makes crap, but like I do like I like the original Happy Gilmore. This looks funny. This actually looks kind of funny. I feel like it's kind of poking fun at legacy sequels as well.
Yep.
Like I feel like it's like kind of that vibe, and I kind of like that too.
Oh, I love the Bruins jersey he pulls up. I'm like, they have flashbacks. It's just it's the slapstick physical comedy that Adam Sandler did so well. I feel like he's getting back to that in this movie in a way that I really appreciate. So, and this is a long time coming. I'm like, I really also appreciate the fact that Netflix is giving it the billing that it deserves. Like, this is the kind of movie that's gonna potentially do really well for them. Is that Bad Bunny? That's Bad Bunny right there.
Yeah,
oh, like I didn't even realize that until just now. I must have like zoomed over that for the trailer. That's awesome. Was the best. Of course, they're giving away the cameos. Everybody, they're giving away the cameos. Yep, absolutely love it. It's the nostalgia. It's kind of look. Here's the thing. You went and saw Karate Kid Legends. You loved it because of the nostalgia that it brought you, and you were willing to kind of like look past some of the imperfections, right? I think this is exactly that. This is exactly that. By the way, Caleb, we will talk about the Black Phone 2 trailer. We have so many trailers to talk about today, so we're not done with trailer talk. But this looked fantastic to me. I thought between this and Megan 2.0, those were the two funniest trailers of the weekend for me. Like that's just my opinion. I just thought it was hilarious. Megan was a little over the top. Like it was kind of like quirky.
A fucking little. Are you kidding me?
Okay, I'm not giving away my review for that trailer just yet. It was definitely more than a little over the top. I love that Christopher McDonald is back in this. Steven asking what is our favorite Adam Sandler movie? I don't know, John. Where do you stand on that? What is your favorite
Uncut
Adam
Gems.
Sandler movie? Oh, mine is The Longest Yard. I love The Longest Yard. The Adam Sandler one with what was forgetting the name of the actor from the original, Burt Reynolds. He was in, I mean, you can't say that it was a cheap knockoff to make money. I mean, they had Burt Reynolds in it, the OG, the man from the OG movie. That's my favorite, The Longest Yard. I watch that movie all the time. I watch it like 3 or 4 times a year.
Caleb, shut the fuck up.
Best Adam Sandler movie is Wedding Singer or 51st Dates.
Those are also really good.
They're really good. This is the thing. Adam Sandler low-key has a really good resume. That dude is a Hall of Famer. First ballot Hall of Famer, if they do such a thing in Hollywood. But July 25th, John. So July gets even better and more packed. You've got Superman coming out, then Fantastic Four. This comes out the same week as Fantastic Four, right? So you can go watch the Fantastic Four first steps in a movie theater, and you can then or you can stay home, or maybe just do both and watch Happy Gilmore 2 as well. I thought this was also one of the more higher profile things that they had out there in terms of legacy media sequel. So I loved it. This was awesome. I can't wait to see what more they can come up with here. Did I skip something? Oh yeah, we had some photos from Stranger Things. Oh well, we'll get back to that later. But dude, Margaret Qualley, Bad Bunny, Benny Safdie, the cast is great. Ben Stiller's back. Um, it looks amazing. Just some geeky guys here saying the actress who plays Adam Sandler's curvy side chick is a mattress actress now. What? Wait, who are you talking about? Oh, in the Uncut Gems. Okay. I was like, what? You're talking about the same movie? That makes sense. All right. Well, let's keep going here, John. I don't know if that was the last one. Was it the last big one? Oh, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck back together again. So there's that. By the way, they also have AEW star MJF in Happy Gilmore 2, which looks great, and Rory McIlroy. Come on, Travis Kelce, all the cameos. So there, you got Affleck and Damon doing a new crime thriller called The Rip. So there's a couple other honorable mentions, John. But that's about it. I mean, the only other thing I can point out is Lady Gaga performed. She performed 2 songs. So we, like The Weeknd came out and did his thing at CinemaCon. Lady Gaga showed up and did her thing at TUDUM. So here lies the Monster Queen. I mean, she's doing her thing. I enjoyed that part of the presentation quite a bit. So, all right, well, guys, that's all the TUDUM stuff. I mean, I feel like we gave it as much of a spotlight as we possibly can. Yeah, I mean, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, The Rip, that's going to be exciting. They're doing a lot of collaborations these days. Cookie Monster hanging out with Matt and Ben was adorable. Yes, it was. Thank you, Enterprising, for pointing that out. We could talk about just TUDUM alone for 2 hours, but we have a lot of other things to talk about. So, guys, let us know in the comments down below what you thought about the TUDUM event. What was your favorite part of it? Which trailer was your favorite? Was it Wednesday? Was it Happy Gilmore 2? Was it Frankenstein? Did you appreciate the date announcements for Stranger Things 5 and Knives Out 3, I guess, Wake Up Dead Man? Like, all of these things, and even beyond that, they had other stuff that you guys can get into that we didn't even get a chance to talk about. Let us know in the comments what was your favorite moment from TUDUM and which of those projects, whether it's a movie, TV show, or both, that you're looking forward to this year. Well, and with that, let's talk about DC and Marvel at CCXP because, well, CCXP was the big Comic-Con this weekend, and it's the one in Mexico City. They had a lot going on there. Both DC and Marvel showed up, as I just mentioned. So you had the Fantastic Four, then you had Peacemaker. What we're going to start off by talking about is Fantastic Four, and then we're going to get into Peacemaker. So, John, the first thing I got to get into here is they were doing some promotional work around it. So, the Familia, the whole thing, they're right there. The cast of the movie on a big 4 with the arrows, similar to what we see in the movie itself. So there's some promotional work there. And then when we get into the meat of it, of course, we got some new footage. Let's see, this is a better link, I think. They debuted a new poster. Let's get rid of that. So they gave us this new poster. This is part of the new poster, a much more minimalist design. And then they showed us a bunch of footage, John, from the movie, which isn't online yet. So there was an exclusive for the people in attendance, but this is a description from Omelette on comicbookmovie.com saying the Fantastic Four are inside their ship, and Sue is starting to go into labor, but the Silver Surfer is chasing them. Ben takes over the ship and starts trying to dodge her. They jump into a kind of hyperspace. The CGI is great. We see Reed stretching and using his powers. The Surfer almost reaches Sue's belly. She wants the baby. Johnny takes over the ship's cannons and tries to shoot the Surfer. He makes a joke about her being sexy. Okay, there you go, Johnny, true to form. Meanwhile, Sue continues to have contractions. Reed then tells Ben to go into a black hole. Ben gets worried. Reed tells him to trust him. End of scene. John, question for you. Is this the black hole they go into and then come into the 616 at the end of Thunderbolts? Do you think that's how it all ties in together?
Yeah, I mean, that seems relatively kind of what I was saying before, where it was like the reason that they escape Earth was because of the baby. It's like normally they would like sacrifice themselves, but Sue's like, I now have a child in me. I can't let that child die. So they're like, that's what makes them leave that Earth and go into the black hole, and leading into Earth 199999, and that's what I think, like something around those lines. Although I did also predict that Franklin Richards he would be born, and then there was that, because there's the idea that he's already born at some point in the movie, like he's born in the movie. So because we saw that concept art, which might have been fake, I don't remember if only.
So last week we talked about it. There was actually a toy line that kind of revealed the design of the baby.
Yeah,
so
the Funko Pop, right?
No, not a Funko Pop. They actually had action figures. Like there's an action figure where you could see Franklin Richards really clearly. So I think it was Liz and I talked about it on the show, but the MCU is Earth 19. Well, as far as whether this is the ending of the movie, it doesn't make a lot of sense if you think about it. Like if this was how the movie ended, like why would they give away the ending to the movie at a Comic-Con? But then also they had that public screening last week where they showcased the scene at the end of the movie, which I'm pretty sure is like a red herring that's Marvel has done in the past whenever they've done a public screening ahead of the actual release. Even like I think when they did a CinemaCon screening for a movie a number of years ago, they put in a scene at the end that was ultimately not in the movie. So like it's gonna throw people off. So I'm guessing the scene from the public screening last week where Franklin Richards is in bed and Sue leaves the room for a second, and then Doom is sitting there with the mask in hand, and it's kind of like a headless cameo like Superman from Shazam. That's probably not in the actual movie, but they do have to end up in 616 for the Doomsday and Secret Wars. So I don't think them going to the black hole here leads them into our universe. This might be more like they're going into like another time period or something, or maybe another alternate Earth, right? Because this is, again, I feel like this further tells us like who they had the John Malkovich, right? Like he's playing like this old actor, like not this old actor, but he's an old actor. He's playing this old character in the movie, which we have been speculating might be an older version of Franklin Richards, or maybe from another reality, or from the past, maybe in the future. I have a feeling whatever black hole they go into, they end up in that reality or in that world, like part of the timeline, not that going into 616. So that's my speculation on it. But I mean, John, CGI was great. They keep saying that. The screening that they did last week for the public in LA, some people were saying the CGI looked unfinished. So I'm guessing this scene is one of the ones that's already done, which could also mean that it might be in the earlier part of the movie. But yeah. She's trying to still skin the baby. I see. What are you doing here being John Malkovich? Yeah. Well, John Malkovich famously was like kind of declined multiple invites to be in a superhero movie in the past because he was like, make it worth my while, pay me. And it looks like they paid him enough to be in this one. But John, like this wasn't the only thing, of course. A Fantastic Four showed off some footage. We got the cast members there. The big thing that I forgot to mention in terms of real life events, let me see if I can, I don't know if there's a thing here. Okay, so of course a poster and stuff, but Vanessa Kirby was sporting a baby bump and the dress that she was wearing, it looks like Vanessa Kirby in real life is pregnant too. So that ties into the movie, I think, which is, I mean, great timing. But
what's the formula for that fucking hairline though? God damn, Sue. The fuck?
Well, John, we also have details for the IMAX release for the movie. It's going to be the second MCU film, as well as how they shot it. It's the second MCU film to feature scenes shot in full 1.43:1 aspect ratio, which is the full IMAX aspect ratio. Excuse me, I think the first one was Eternals, if I'm correct.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, we're gonna do artsy stuff with this, so people will take us more seriously. And we're using actual film. Oh my god.
Yep. Yash is in the chat. I don't know what he's up to, but
I don't want to post that just in case.
Oh, I can't even read what he's saying at this point. So we're just gonna let you chill out there for a second, Yash. But yeah, Jalen, it looks like because I'll see if I can find an image. But yeah, Vanessa Kirby, the dress she was wearing, you could tell she was sporting a bit of a baby bump. So there's that. Let's see. I mean, different angles and stuff. I think just Jared had a good one. Let's see if I can pull this up. Oh, come on. There we go. There's the photo. All right. So yeah, I mean, you can't really tell in this angle, actually, to be fair. But let me see if maybe I go to the next photo. There you go. See right there. You could see. We usually talk about the bulge. Let's talk about the bump. There's the shot right there. Vanessa Kirby, kind of doing her best Rihanna impression, I suppose. So the cast very much looking like a family. I mean, they're like she's really playing the part now. But I do also love, like Caleb said, how colorful this movie is looking. Let's get back to where we were.
I mean, there's blue. That's one color.
Yeah, well, I mean, but I think a lot of the trailers have showcased probably not the final color pass on the movie, so there's that. Just some geeky guys saying the marketing campaign for the Fantastic Four is so creative that Vanessa Kirby actually got herself pregnant for the role. Yep, there you go.
That's totally how that works.
That's totally how that works. Yep, exactly. She must have timed it perfectly. Yeah, you know what? Maybe. It's just a coincidence for all we know. But the sequence in the movie, as I was saying about IMAX earlier, there are sequences in the movie that are also shot in 16mm and 35mm film, which would, tie into, I guess, what some of the stuff we've seen in the trailers. We're gonna see some vintage-looking footage of the actors and in their astronaut suits and stuff, and of course, we're getting IMAX shots as well. I hope some of the stuff at Galactus is in IMAX. That would be to show scale, like especially vertically. That's really what the IMAX film is there for. But yeah, I mean, hey, that's the Fantastic Four stuff, John. Are you impressed by any of the new marketing and stuff? The footage description, does it give you any more of an idea of what we should be expecting from the movie?
Hopefully something good. That's my only hope at this point. Something good, and that's it.
Something good. That's all we can hope for. Well, I'm trying to pull up some stuff from Peacemaker because, oh my God, we have a lot to get into there, because the stuff that Peacemaker brought out, they actually put online, and a lot of new reveals. It's looking like that show's even more packed than we would expect it. So let's dive into that. But before we do, guys, let us know in the comments down below what you thought about the Fantastic Four, footage that they revealed at the CCXP. They didn't put it out on the internet, but we can talk about it because people have put the descriptions online. They put a new poster out. Vanessa Kirby is pregnant. Let us know in the comments what you think about all of that. Are you looking forward to the movie? And in the meantime, we're gonna keep the ball rolling here. Enterprising saying the marketing has been only okay for Fantastic Four. Well, we'll just keep an eye out for more as it comes. But John, let's talk about Peacemaker, shall we? Peacemaker was the big thing that DC brought to CCXP this weekend. James Gunn, John Cena were both there, as they promised, and they came out. They had all kinds of fun with the audience. James Gunn and John Cena gave away a few secrets that they might have been holding on to regarding the new season of the show. And, SWAC fan, by the way, a SWAC fan who might check out Fantastic Four. Translate my comments and you'll see how I feel about the Fantastic Four. Eric Walters, who is Eric? I don't know if you sent us anything earlier. This is the first time I've seen you in the chat today. But anywho, John, let's talk about Peacemaker. So let's dive into it, shall we? They put up this teaser. I mean, we got a bunch of footage from behind the scenes of how they were shooting the show, and as you see, there's some fight sequences there.
Like, it's probably going to be like an early season, like, fake out kind of thing. Well, maybe not a fake out. I don't know what the right wording would be, but it would be like, oh, he kidnaps him early on, but then he keeps him there for a bit, but then he eventually escapes. That's my guess. That's obviously not going to be an ending season thing, because that's not in the James Gunn code. Usually he only does stuff really early on. So I think that's what is happening here, is like Rick Flag manages to get him like maybe in the first or second episode, and then Peacemaker escapes, and maybe in order to escape Rick Flag, he goes into these pocket dimensions to escape.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think there's a lot to see here, especially this shot here. I'm like, who is that guy? Like, who is that? We're gonna dive into all of that. There's a lot happening in the second season. You're absolutely right, Caleb. Eric saying, I want to peacemake the F out of it. Okay. All right. Well, I should have looked at that before I put that on screen. That's my bad. Eric, calm down. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, it's still eating Chris up that he killed Rick Flack's son. He does feel, maybe he just lets him, he does feel guilty about that. So maybe he just lets Frank Grillo's Rick Flack Sr. just wail on him. Multiverse of Madness Gunn style. That could be what they're heading for. But so let's kind of start. We know he's hyped for peace. But John, we have a few images. Of course, we're seeing this alternate version of Peacemaker. This looks like it's not the John Cena Peacemaker that we are familiar with. You see the suit looks a bit different. We saw this in the trailer, but then you also see, I guess, the same suit, but maybe our version of John Cena. So maybe he kills the alternate version and then takes over the suit. You can see this looks like a Cena versus Cena fight. One of them in tidy whities, and it's in that folding quantum space that they have. One of the fun things you got to do was, or receive, was a poster for the show if you were at CCXP. But John, one of the big Easter eggs in this whole teaser trailer, let's dive into that, is this little guy. Who is that, do you think? Some new faces, they say. That's definitely a new face. What are we going for here? Like, what could it be? I mean, because there's a few options, I suppose. People are suggesting, is it a white Martian? I mean, the character design sort of adds
No,
up.
I don't think James Gunn would do that, because one, he doesn't look white, and two, I think it's just like maybe like a gag or something. Like, knowing James Gunn, and Peacemaker is very much like the more typical James Gunn humor that he likes to do. So I would imagine this is probably going to be a skit or a gag within the show, whether it's like a dimensional thing or like a cold open or something like that. I could see them doing that. But I don't know. I think it's just a generic alien, because that's what it kind of looks like. It's, the typical, like, oh, he has like kind of scaly scales and like weird skin. He's got 4 eyes, and very typical alien. So I could see them just kind of doing that. Yeah.
Sorry, I was muted there for a second, but James Gunn did respond to this question when somebody asked, James, what is this? He was like, just some dude. It's just some dude. So could it be just some dude? I feel like there's more to it than that. Do you think they're going in an original direction, or are they? Oh, we're gonna get to that one later. I think this is White Martian. Maybe they are introducing White Martians here. That would be nice if it was. Yeah, figure drawing. There's some characters in the chat today. I don't know what's going on. We're trying to stay on top of it. John is doing a good job there. Do you really want to taste? They did actually have John Cena do the dance.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, just some dude. Maybe the new opening.
In the featurette doing like practicing the dance. So Tim Meadows and Jennifer Holland. So.
Jennifer Holland, yeah. But hey, John. Okay, so this is one Easter egg. This is one really big one. I'm like, is that just another random alien, just some dude, or is it actually a white Martian? Are we gonna go in that direction? Is he just from one of the pocket dimensions? But then there's this image. He could have walked off Scary Movie 3. That's true. Yeah, John,
definitely.
You look at this photo. Let's really dive into this one here. Like, holy, this character
looks like. Do you remember that thing? The first thing we ever saw of Peacemaker, that mural. That's the third guy, because it showed the White Dragon, an alternate version of White Dragon, a version of Peacemaker, and I'm pretty sure this guy was on that mural. So I'm thinking this is like an alternate universe version of his brother, who he killed by accident. And that's what, yeah, exactly. Boom, there you go. I forget his name, the brother's name. But
I remember that episode, Warner Brothers was taking that image down everywhere. Like I had to cut that out in post. Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is like, I think maybe his dad gives him like a suit that makes him, makes him give him powers, kind of like how the helmet gives Peacemaker powers, and then, but it's more like Superman-esque. Because it looks like he's flying and he's invulnerable. So, it's not White Dragon. I think it's his brother. I think it's an alternate universe version of his brother, and he like gets like a suit, and then like Chris gets just a helmet. So yeah, I think that's the vibe I'm getting, because I remember like essentially it's the same uniform and everything, where it's like the red and the blue and the white. So yeah, I think that's his brother. I think it's like they're in a universe where he didn't die. And maybe the vibe I'm getting from this featurette is like, so I'm going to paint you a picture. This is John's theory time. Cue the X-Files music. So I'm going to say this. So the first episode, they're reestablishing everything. Maybe it's the DCU, maybe it's the DCEU. I don't know. I think it's just we're just gonna have it be the DCU and like ignore the Justice League thing. So I think it's gonna have Peacemaker finding out that Rick Flag is the head of Argus. He's going after him. We're gonna get like a lull, maybe like in the first half of the first episode. We're gonna get like a lull. This is like where they are now. This is where they are now. Oh, you're a toxic masculine woman. Or like Freddie Stroma is still working at his shitty restaurant job and all that. And then we eventually get it so that like John Cena finds out, or Chris finds out, that Rick Flag is the head of Argus now, and he's going to fucking kill him. And then eventually, maybe first episode, maybe second episode, I keep saying John Cena because it's just John Cena playing himself. So John Cena as Chris is he gets taken by Rick Flag Sr. And either in the second or third episode, I would say the second, he escapes. Like for whatever reason, somehow he escapes. Maybe someone on the inside, maybe John Economos, maybe this person, maybe that person. They let him escape. So he goes off, and now there's kind of a lull. Maybe there's an episode of like him like on the run. And then he escapes into the White Dragon pocket dimension. So he escapes into there, and then he goes deeper and deeper into it and finds the door where they're like, who the fuck are you? That preview. So, and the vibe I'm getting from what you said and from what is shown here, that he kills that version of Peacemaker and is forced to adopt that role, and then he gets into all types of shenanigans in this world, finding out, his dad is still alive, Chris is like a villain, hero, whatever they decide it to be, like anti-hero. And then so he's dealing with the shenanigans of this world, but then at the same time he's dealing with the shenanigans of Rick Flag and Tim Meadows and Sacha Bordeaux trying to find him. And like maybe the supporting cast is dealing with the stuff on that world while he's like dealing with the shenanigans of this world. And then eventually they'll come together in like the last few episodes, and boom, there's your season. That's my prediction of what's going to happen now. It could be totally wrong. It could be totally right. I don't know. I'm just saying it now. First episode, we get like the where are they now? They're kind of hanging out. Maybe in the first or second episode, Rick Flag Sr. kidnaps him. Then he eventually escapes in the second or third episode. He's on the run. He finds his dad's pocket dimension. He goes into one of the doors. He finds another Peacemaker. He kills that version. He kills that universe's Peacemaker. Then he gets into shenanigans on that world. Then Rick Flag Sr. is trying to find him, as well as the 11th Street Kids, and they eventually converge in the final episode. Boom. No, I don't think so, because he still looks like the White Dragon. That's it. Boom. There we go. That's my theory. You can go back to this episode, DCU Daily, number 318. If I'm right, y'all owe me $1. And with how many views we get, that's like maybe $150. Boom. There we go.
I give us a bit more credit than that. But I mean, hey, we will dive. It could be a really good season if that's how things play out, because I mean, hey, we should do a whole theory video on that. Just I didn't kill your Peacemaker. I didn't kill your son. Flag. There were witnesses. Peacemaker, jumps into dimension fugitive style. That would be hilarious. I mean, it's kind of interesting because obviously we have seen the trailer, but I mean now it's confirmed. James Gunn said it himself. Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl will appear in the very first episode of this season 2, and of course Maxwell Lord. So we're gonna get a lot of these cameos. It's just interesting to me though, like if what you're suggesting, it's like the rest of the team too. Like they have to come over with him. Like you said, like they're gonna stick around. They're gonna meet up, so they have to cross into this other universe as well. But hey, you know what? Let's see what James Gunn had to say about this, because he did kind of hint at something along those lines. I feel like, because when he was asked like how does this all work, and he was, you know, in terms of how does Peacemaker enter the DCU, he said we get to see Peacemaker in the DCU. He meets Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Maxwell Lord in the first episode. So I still have a hard time believing they're gonna do that whole thing of he's gonna go from the DCEU essentially to the DCU, because then that leaves the door open for, oh yeah, the Henry Cavill Superman exists in that world that he came from. You know what I mean? It's like that do you really want to keep that as an option? Because people will point that out. There will be a lot of people who will point that out. And I don't know if that's a good idea to like do it this way. Yeah, James Gunn is a busy man. How do we know the right Peacemaker won? You know what? That's also a good question. That is also a good question, because in one of the other stills we were looking at earlier, in this Peacemaker versus Peacemaker fight, it looks like maybe the bad guy is winning at some point, because that suit is not our Peacemaker suit, right? That looks like it's the alternate version of Peacemaker. So it also doesn't look like the DCEU version. So I don't know, maybe that is the DCU version, because he's wearing this helmet here, which is a different helmet than that helmet. So, but then again, they have multiple helmets. But then this version looks like our guy. He's wearing the same suit as the bad version of Peacemaker. So a lot of confusing contradictions. Maybe that's intentional. They don't want to explain any of that here. Obviously, they're like, watch the show to find out what happens. He's the gun shooting spray shots that hit their mark. Which universes are which? Caleb is asking. Here's my theory, John. I think that the only universe here that is going to matter is obviously the DCU timeline. And then every other alternate pocket dimension is going to be some alternate timeline, none of which are the DCEU. I just think they're going to say he exists in the DCU this whole time. And they're going to retcon the Justice League sequence. So I just hit my mic. That to me feels like the most likely situation. It just avoids all the different questions that they would have otherwise they would need to answer. Like let's not get around to that, because once you open the door for people to be like, oh, so the Ben Affleck Batman and Gal Gadot Wonder Woman still exist, that's a whole other can of worms that I'm sure he doesn't want to have to worry about. But then John, he did mention that a bunch of characters who died in season 1 will be coming back. We see a couple of them in different ways in season 2. There's another little world Peacemaker goes to. So that there, I believe he goes to another alternate reality that's not the DCEU, which is how we get to see some of these other characters come back. I mean, what do you think, John? Do you feel like that's a fair assessment? Because James Gunn has mentioned another little world Peacemaker goes.
I mean, the thing is, I don't know why they have to say this about the White Dragon, because he's in his head. Like that was the whole thing with the character in the comics. Like his dad is a Nazi in his head when he was introduced. Like I think it was post-crisis when all the crisis happened and all the Earths converged into one. That was like the whole thing. So I don't know. Oh, he's bringing. Well, I mean, he's still. I know he's dead, and he's just a hallucination. But I will say, the season 1 suit looks a hell of a lot better than the season 2 suit. Maybe it's a copy. Maybe it's like a copycat.
It's also the season 2 suit on the right looks much more low resolution. That's like probably not doing it justice. You know what I mean? Yeah, and the Justice League cameo, by the way, and TC24. I think they're gonna just retcon it out straight away. I do love Michael Rooker. Like the more we get to see him, he's like, what is it? What is this name? That character, Red Eagle, or whatever, Red Saint Eagle or something like that. He is Eagly's arch nemesis. He hunts eagles. So, yeah. they when they combine Charleston and DC together. Yep. But John, there's a few other things, of course. James Gunn and John Cena, I think they're gonna do this again at Comic-Con in San Diego. So it looks like this is only the beginning. John Cena doing almost a full-time schedule with WWE and still finding time to promote Peacemaker and probably film another movie on the side. While of course, James Gunn, he's still filming, not filming, he's still editing both Peacemaker and Superman. And obviously promoting it there. And they're about to go on a month-long promotional tour where James Gunn is going to be flying all over the world, which we talked about last week. But yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that Michael Rooker is back. A few other things. Towards the end of the presentation, in Mexico, they essentially have this delicacy that, is what do they call it? Chapulines, but they're essentially crickets. They're like cooked crickets. Well, it looks like both John Cena and James Gunn had to eat a few. I'm sure they taste good.
I don't get this.
I'm sure they taste good. It's I mean, if any of you guys are from Mexico, you can explain to us what this tradition is, because obviously you give me and John like a bowl of, I don't know, deep fried crickets. We'd be like, what? Are we supposed to actually eat those? You could tell John Cena thought about it twice, but then just kind of went for it. And I guess, yeah, James Gunn was like, sure, why not? I can do it too. A bowl of crickets. Chapulines, they're a delicacy of cooked grasshoppers. Crickets, grasshoppers, I don't know. Kind of the same thing. Potato. Hey, what's up, Yondu? John Cena wanted no part of this. He had to once James Gunn. Oh, it was the opposite. Okay, so James Gunn did it first. There we go. So James Gunn went for it. And then John Cena was like, all right, well, I gotta hold up mine to the bargain. You can tell he's thinking about it. This was funny. I don't know. Would you like to try some chapulines, John?
No.
Would you be interested in?
No.
I'd try anything once, and then see how it goes. But yeah, John Cena did eventually give in, and
I'm okay.
was like, all right, we'll do it. People taking all the video. Welcome to Hollywood, John, says Swag Fan. There you go. Well, I've done weirder. There we go. Oh yeah, I'm sure he has. He's been around a long time. But you know what? They also made John Cena do the Peacemaker dance. That was funny. And then James Gunn kind of mentioned something about how John Cena mixed up the choreography for both season 1 and 2. So I guess we got a bit of a preview of the season 2 intro, which we know we're gonna get the whole season 2 intro and the song, especially the song, at San Diego Comic-Con. So that's the big one that they're saving for San Diego Comic-Con, is the reveal of the new song and title intro. But I guess John Cena gave us a bit of a preview there. Frankie's in the chat. Just throw a little salt and pepper on it. That's all you need. It will make the grasshoppers go down easy, or at least add a bit of flavor to them. So there you go. Just wrapping up a few more details. They thanked the fans, said watch Superman, watch Peacemaker on HBO Max, not Max, HBO Max. Of course they've got a new name. And then they said we love you and said goodbyes. I mean, this was awesome. I watched like a lot of this presentation and it was fun. I mean, John Cena does have the best dance move, even though he's quite stiff from all the injuries over the years in the WWE. But John, to kind of recap the Peacemaker panel at CCXP, multiple dead characters will return from season 1. So again, that's different ways in how they're going to be retconning things. Maybe some of them will be just alive in the new continuity. Some of them might be because John Cena goes into those pocket dimensions. His pocket universe is how they arrive according to this new universe. So I guess you're right, John. Maybe that is the way that Peacemaker arrives in the DCU, which again for me is a little suspect, because then that leaves open the possibility that the DCEU still exists somewhere in the multiverse, so there's
and we'd like to leave that universe just kind of in that universe, we have, Ezra Miller as the Flash and George Clooney as Batman. Let's just.
I so want to see that. I want Bat Nipples George Clooney Batman suit one more time. Give it to me one more time. We did not see the Superman suit concepts, Hunter Iggy, but we will get. If you have a link for us, if you point us in the right direction, we'll find it for next time. But yeah, I mean that's it. Peacemaker and Fantastic Four at CCXP. But you know what? There were a couple other things James Gunn was asked over the weekend that I wanted to get into, John. So we're not quite done with the Marvel and DC at CCXP, because one of the things that was going on over the weekend was James Gunn addressing the future of the DCU, including mentioning that he would love to see Peacemaker fighting Batman in the DCU at some point. Would you like to see that? I mean, the fact that James Gunn wants it to happen, do you think this is now way more likely that we will get Peacemaker fighting Batman? Is it going to be a fair fight? Like one man uses guns, the other one doesn't?
That's pretty unlikely.
Do you think he just said it in jest?
I think he's just yeah, I think that's I don't I think it's just like a funny joke. I don't think it's anything major.
Yeah. By the way, Just Some Geeky Guy did send us a super chat earlier. We'll get into that when we get into DCU Daily proper, because believe it or not, even though we've been talking DC the last 20 odd minutes, we still have a lot more to get into. So we will save the chat for later. I already put it up there. But hey, James Gunn is already working on his next project. I think we talked about this when you were last on the show, right, John? That James Gunn's already doing his next thing. He was asked about how now that Superman is completely almost locked, will you start writing your next film right away? Or will you take a bit of time? Because of course he's got to do the press tour for Peacemaker, which he's already doing now, and then he's going across the world for Superman. And James Gunn said, "Oh, I'm on it now." So I know the speculation has been the world's finest. Do you still believe that's what James Gunn is working on, considering we don't even have a proper Batman in the news DCU yet?
I think I mean, the authority that has been like kind of because I think he mentioned that was like a passion project of his. I think at like one point, maybe. I know that there was the world's finest rumor. I know people are wanting a Wonder Woman movie, so maybe it's that. But I don't know. I just think I think we should just wait for when he announces it, and that's it, because I don't want to speculate too much or anything like that. So I think it's just, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, I think the most likely thing he's working on is what Frankie is saying, Superman 2. Let's not overthink it. I think this movie is already looking in pretty good shape, so it would make sense he's already writing a second Superman, because I bet you if Superman does well enough that by the time we get to Comic-Con and James Gunn is there for Peacemaker, they're going to announce the green light on Superman 2. And what better way to give us that movie in a couple of years' time than to already be working on the script, so then when the green light is given, which in part is going to be a James Gunn decision because he's also the head of the studio, yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice to see it. And again, World's Finest I think is too early. The Authority would be nice, but the way he's talked about it before, I don't know if that's something that he's working on. So I feel like that's more likely to be Superman 2. That's my guess. But then there was a lot of Marvel versus DC conversation recently, because I mean, people online still goading, James Gunn and people on Marvel side too, like, hey, which one's better? So James Gunn pretty much responded by saying, hey, you don't have to pick one or the other, because when you look at it nowadays, I mean, I think there's room for both, especially this July. Because one of the people on, I think this is Instagram maybe, or Threads, he was asked, any word on your fellow July superhero movie, The Fantastic Four? James, people are once again pitting Marvel and DC against each other, with Superman and The Fantastic Four both releasing in July. Obviously, they're 2 weeks apart, with Superman coming out on July 11th and The Fantastic Four coming out on July 25th. So James Gunn said they come out 2 weeks after us. There's room for us both. I love my friends at Marvel. You can find whatever discussions you'd want to find online. I'd focus on all the positivity around the films instead of getting sucked up in online fan wars. John, I feel like in this situation, the rising tide raises all ships, because if Superman is doing really well, people are going to be going to the movie theater quite a bit in July, and then they're more likely to go to watch Fantastic Four, right? Because 2 weeks later, a lot of people who are super fans might have already seen Superman 2 or 3 times. So they're like, let's go see the Fantastic Four. But if Superman is, bad and it shits the bed, then I think Fantastic Four might also have a knock-on effect, because we don't have to just consider the super fans. There's a lot of average movie-going, audience is out there who are just going to see the movie because it's a movie that looks fun. They're not there because it's Marvel or DC.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of, you know what? As time goes on for Fantastic Four, I think it's kind of a lose-lose situation for them. A little bit. Like, hear me out. Because it's like, if Superman is great, if Superman is like fucking amazing, and it is like the best superhero movie like in years, like full return for DC, great movie. Maybe not like, okay, even if it's not like the greatest thing ever, it's still like a great movie, great Superman movie, shuts the Snyder fans up. Okay, they'll never shut up. But like, if it's like just a great movie, then nobody's going to go see Fantastic Four, especially if it's just like another middling Marvel movie. Like, Fantastic Four has to be like the best Marvel movie since that actually has to be the best Marvel movie since Endgame for that to like actually succeed at any amount. So and from what we have seen, there are plenty of people that are excited for it. I'm reasonably excited for it, but like, it just looks like a middling Marvel movie with a blue coat of paint. That's all it is. That's all it looks like to me. Now, maybe just the trailers suck. Kind of look at Wicked. I thought the trailers for that looked fucking horrible, and look how and I ended up liking that movie. I didn't love it like everyone else did, and I don't think it's a Best Picture nominee at all, but that was still a very good movie when I didn't expect it to be. So maybe it's just the trailers are terrible and it's actually a great movie. Who knows? But so if Superman is great, then domino effect, people are going to keep going to see that, and maybe Jurassic World and fucking Smurfs, and then nobody's going to care about Fantastic Four. However, if Superman is bad, I don't think it will be. Again, it has to be like worse than like Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn crap fest. Like, it has to be like worse than The Flash, Aquaman 2, like Superman 4 levels of bad. But maybe it's just like not that good. Maybe it's middling. Maybe it's just not that great. And that would lead to a domino effect for Fantastic Four, because then like, oh, okay, if Superman's not that great, then okay, then I'm not going to go see Fantastic Four. If they can't do this, then why would I want to go see this? You're still going to get the Marvel stands. Of course you are. And you're still going to get reasonably like, okay, I'm curious to see if they'll get Fantastic Four right this time. So, but you're not going to get that average audience if Superman is bad. So I think Fantastic Four is kind of screwed both ways. So that's just my opinion. Maybe you can disagree with that, but it's just like, I feel like Fantastic Four kind of rides on Superman more than it thinks, I think.
I mean, look, here's what I don't entirely agree with you. I do agree with what James Gunn is saying. There's room for us both. I mean, I think the sentiment is the same on both sides. I mean, just some geeky guys, I don't think agrees with you either, but Caleb saying, I'll say this, but Guardians Volume 1 is the worst Gunn movie in my opinion, and it's pretty damn good. I thought the first Guardians movie, I think, is the best Guardians movie. I still think so. But as far as like the battle between Superman and Fantastic Four, I'm a big DC fan, obviously, right? Like, we're doing DCU daily, so and it's like we set this up because we want to be celebrating the DC universe, right? So, and word of mouth is going to tell exactly how good both movies are going to be, because their opening weekends are going to be great for both of them, but it's going to be the legs. Do they have the legs? But as far as where I stand on both movies, Superman, it's the start of a new franchise where the last number of DC movies, except with the exception of the Batman and the Joker movie, and maybe even if you want to look at some of the hits that they had prior to the pandemic, but for the most part in recent years, DC, especially when it comes to the cinematic universe, the DCEU just shit the bed, completely went downhill. Even if they weren't lame duck movies when they came out in 2023, the 4 movies they released, I don't think any of them would have made a lot more money than they actually did. You know, like I thought Shazam 2 was rather underwhelming. The Flash was a good movie, but I mean the PR around it was really just so bad that it really didn't help. And it also, there was a lot of really weird CGI in it, which I think was just a big blemish on the film. The second Aquaman movie was a decided step down from the first one. And
I mean, this is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, sure,
Well-
Brave. I think word of mouth did kind of.
no, but here's the thing.
It's like everyone would thought Captain America 4 sucks. So like,
It's-
oh, let's not see another Marvel movie. And sure, Thunderbolts was apparently very good, but like,
Yeah.
I still believe that that's not going to matter because I think a lot of people are just kind of done with Marvel at this point, even with
but
Thunderbolts being as good as it was.
Right. But here's the thing. Superman is coming out at a point where the average movie-going audience thinks DC still sucks. And yeah, like it's not like Marvel is in a terribly better place right now because they've had their ups and downs. Captain America 4 was bad. Thunderbolts was good. Thunderbolts didn't have a high ceiling because the characters in that movie weren't very recognizable. So I think that hurt it for sure. And then you have a situation where this has got the pressure to launch a whole new cinematic universe. Yeah, if it doesn't do well, it's not like they're going to all of a sudden cancel Supergirl. They've put way too much into that. They're already doing Lantern. So there's a lot of confidence there from the studio and from the leadership beyond just DC Studios, David Zaslav and stuff. They're going to stick with these movies. They're going to stick with this franchise. They've got these, crossovers with Peacemaker we've been talking about, where you're going to get these characters across multiple projects in a very short span of time. But they did put the Sergeant Rock movie on the shelf for a little while until next year. They'll probably reevaluate that. That might still can't get canceled entirely. Clayface is getting almost a page 1 rewrite, which is kind of insane if given that they greenlit it because they love the Mike Flanagan script. So you can see that there's potential for cracks to form in the foundation, which is still a very new foundation. So, and by the way, just some geeky guy, we will get into your question. I actually have something to talk about regarding that in a minute, regarding the runtime of the movie. But I think Superman has a lot of pressure on it. Here's what I'll say. Superman has more pressure on it overall to succeed because Superman is the new, kid on the block, essentially. They're the first movie in a new cinematic universe where there's nothing that came before it. I mean, outside of Creature Commandos, which doesn't really count because it's an animated show that a lot of people didn't really see. And so if this Superman sucks or doesn't make as much money as the Man of Steel did, or even the last Justice League movie did, that's gonna hurt. And that's especially if the critic reception isn't good. For the Marvel side, I think Thunderbolts did a good job of hopefully recuperating the reputational damage that Captain America 4 did.
The thing is with that, usually it's every other movie from Marvel is good. So now we're due for a bad Marvel movie. So that's the thing I'm kind of...
No, yeah, but look, TC24 is making a good point. Like, the Superman trailer got the most amount of views in December that any DC or Warner Brothers trailer has ever gotten. So that was huge. That goes to show you that people are excited about this. People can differentiate between the two things. So I do appreciate that this Superman movie people can tell apart from what's come before. But having said that, I mean, if it's not a good movie, it will do a lot of damage. People are like, I'm just tired of giving DC more chances. They keep failing me. So in that sense, it matters that Superman is good because there could be a lot of damage to... Because here's the thing. Think about it this way. The MCU has got 2 Avengers movies coming up, a Spider-Man movie coming up, and a bunch of other stuff they're already working on. The X-Men. If Fantastic Four shits the bed, the MCU doesn't die tomorrow. If Superman shits the bed, yes, the DCU doesn't die tomorrow, but it will really, really hurt what Supergirl might do at the box office. It will reduce the hype around Peacemaker. It might even hurt the Lanterns, hype, and so it will hurt. And it will also hurt the concept of, are we going to greenlight a Superman 2? Are we going to, because this first Superman movie has a budget of somewhere around 200 million or somewhere in the range. If it's not over 200, then it's certainly over 150 million. So it's not a cheap movie. They're spending probably 100 plus a million marketing it. So they need to recuperate that money. And then when you get to Fantastic Four, like you said, John, it's there relative to Superman, it doesn't have as much pressure because Marvel will still exist and do their thing. But I mean, like you were saying, Frankie G, we are not expecting Superman to suck. With Fantastic Four, I feel like the marketing hasn't convinced us as much. It doesn't feel as a bit of as much of a standout. By the Glimmer cast in the chat, hello. I don't think the Fantastic Four, like you said, John, looks anything other than another Marvel movie that just has these characters. So yeah, and then you know what? Glimmercast is exactly the demographic Superman should be aiming for, because like those, I mean, because the people on the coast and the people who are the super fans, they're gonna go see it. But you want to bring out Middle America. You want to bring out the larger audience. You want to bring out everyone. It's a unifying message, that is more universal for Superman. And that's hopefully, I mean, look, Fantastic Four are meant to be that for Marvel. But I don't think Marvel is dead. I mean, both Avengers movies would need to suck really bad in order for that to happen. And they've got too much nostalgia bait in those movies for people to be like, oh no, I'm not going to see Avengers Doomsday. They will make like $2 billion a piece. So ultimately, I think Fantastic Four probably doesn't make as much money as Superman, but I think it's more important that Superman is better, because it's the start of a new cinematic universe. It's laying the foundation. Fantastic Four isn't doing that. I mean, yes, it's laying a foundation for maybe a new era. It's the first movie of Phase 6. But if Fantastic Four sucks, we will see those characters in 2 other Avengers movies before we get another Fantastic Four movie. You can redeem them. So I'm like, that's all I'm saying. I think from that perspective, I mean, there's pressure on both movies to do well. So ultimately, I think that's what it comes down to. Antonio in the chat saying the problem with the Fantastic Four is I think the cast is not viewed as strong enough. If they would have gotten Margot Robbie, which they were not going to get, we were talking about a whole different situation. Yeah. That's the thing. It's going to be interesting to see. Again, I don't think the star power matters in either situation. Rachel Brosnahan and Nicholas Hoult are more recognizable than David Cornsweet. It didn't matter for Christopher Reeve. It didn't matter for Henry Cavill. I think ultimately the quality of the movie matters, because people are there to see Superman. They're not there to see David Cornsweet. So, and the same applies for Marvel. I think people are going to quickly forgive Pedro Pascal as an off-type casting if he does a great job in the movie. But speaking of, I think one of the comments that was brought in earlier. So here's the super chat from Just Some Geeky Guy. He was saying, do you believe the rumors are true that Warner Brothers made Gunn cut a lot of stuff from Superman to lower the runtime? If so, now Gunn fans know how it feels to see their beloved artwork get botched. Well, here's the thing. Let me kind of clarify some things, because this email newsletter from the Hollywood Reporter really did a good job of kind of pointing out a lot of the hysteria around Superman. So let me kind of scroll down here. We're talking about what's wrong. So when Zack Snyder cut out 30 minutes from his movie, it was basically like a month or 2 from release. And while you might say, okay, similar situation with James Gunn, you could clearly tell like Zack Snyder had basically turned in the final cut of the movie, and they're like cutting pieces out. An entire character got cut. It really destroyed the pacing of the movie, and it hurt like the clarity of the plot too. I don't think James Gunn has had that happen to him, because James Gunn is the head of his own studio. Like, I don't think the only person sitting above James Gunn who can tell him what to do is David Zaslav. And I doubt David Zaslav is going to tell James Gunn to cut 25 minutes out. So I don't think that's what's happening here, Just Some Geeky Guy. But to kind of explain what they mentioned in this article, John, last week rumors were swirling that they might have brought in David Fleming to replace John Murphy. But I mean, they clarified here in the Hollywood Reporter that they're going to be working together. Like, John Murphy started off as a composer. We have heard that whole guitar riff on the John Williams score, and David Fleming is going to just be an additional composer, and both of their music will be in the movie. In fact, we've seen a little bit of that in the new trailer they put out. And then as far as the editing goes, I think they're making some changes, but they're not making any like changes where they're cutting out 25 minutes. If they did cut out 25 minutes, that was earlier in the process, but they're not saying that's the case here. They're not doing one of those things that they pulled off for Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman. And then as far as testing goes, I mean, they're saying here, according to their source, Gunn absolutely tests. He tinkers. He's not one of those directors who can't take suggestions, aka Todd Phillips. It's part of honing the movie. Any movie, they're doing some test screenings, but it's not like they did a public test screening. They're making some changes. but the rumors are overblown about the idea of cutting out huge parts of the movie. I don't think that's what's going on here. But yeah, I mean, hey, it's gonna be interesting to see how this movie shapes up. The other thing that this pointed out here were basically the rumors around Fantastic Four screening. So I'm trying to scroll all the way past the other stuff, and at the very top, John, last week when you were not on the show, we found out that they did a whole public screening of the Fantastic Four, and as part of that, we have some people who obviously were there surprised to see the movie, and some of their reactions were good, some of their reactions were not so good. So a bit of a mix. Some people said it was mid, some people said it was fantastic and gave it glowing reviews. But it's not one of those screenings where it was just friends and family of the filmmakers. There were actually people just going to see a surprise movie that Kevin Feige and Matt Shackman showed up to and said, "You're watching the Fantastic Four today," and that's where that Doctor Doom post-credit sequence came from. So this is a great, if you guys are subscribed to, of course, the Hollywood Reporter, they will send you this newsletter, and they explained a little bit of like why the Marvel is skipping Hall H this year at Comic-Con, because now that Avengers Doomsday comes out in December of next year, you have like 18 months. They can promote it at next year's Comic-Con. If anything, we might get Spider-Man promotion. That might be it. Or they might wait till next year's Comic-Con too. But I think, to be fair, that Spider-Man movie comes out before next year's Comic-Con, so they might be promoting brand new day at this year's. So Marvel will have a presence. They're just not going to be in Hall H for all their announcements. But yeah, let's keep the ball rolling here. John, one of the things that they mentioned in that article, or in that newsletter from the Hollywood Reporter, is that James Gunn is going to be done with post-production by next Friday. 35 days before release. That is this upcoming Friday. Do you believe that? Do you think that that's on point, that Superman is going to be picture locked by the end of this week? And then also, I mean, industry insiders were noting that this is a sign of confidence and satisfaction from the studio on the final product, that they can be done with it a month before we get to the release date. So do you think this is, again, James Gunn just being ahead of the curve, like getting things right, being over prepared, and avoiding all the pitfalls of movie making?
I think I didn't realize that like being over a month ahead of schedule would be a good thing. I thought like, oh, like they usually have it locked in like a couple months beforehand. But again, I don't know the total inner workings of every industry thing. But sorry about that. Well, at least I muted myself. Goddamn.
You actually didn't. We could hear the whole
Oh,
thing.
I didn't? Oh shit, sorry. I thought I muted it. But anyway, so I think that if that is a sign of satisfaction, then great. If it isn't, then whatever. But like if it is, then awesome. Like I think that means a lot. I mean, it's interesting how the film isn't yet. I mean, we know it's going to be fucking PG-13. Like, we know, like, I mean, the rating system is BS, so we know it's like, it's PG-13 because of dumb things here. But I think it's really interesting how, like, the inner machinations of that work. And I mean, they had they did have an entire year, but the thing is, you are your own worst critic in a way. So like you're gonna be like constantly tweaking things. But if they get it complete like over a month beforehand, then that's really awesome. And then they can like really market certain things, and then they can get a rating locked in. They can get a running time locked in, which confirms to me that all the, rumors about the running time have been BS, because if they haven't even gotten a full movie yet, then
it's not done yet. I don't even think
it's not exactly
for Fantastic Four.
It's not done yet. That means that the rating, the running time isn't locked in yet. Although the toy commercial, the one that's been going viral, they did say a rating in that toy commercial, and they said it was PG-13. So I'm really curious if that's real, but I don't know. But whatever it is, obviously it's not going to be rated R. Like, of course not. Like, nothing in that movie would make me believe it's rated R. So, I think, I don't believe that. For a second, but yeah.
I mean, the other thing that Hollywood Reporter confirmed was
could be PG.
Yeah,
I mean, Conclave was rated PG, but like,
true.
I can't imagine it's anything other than PG-13 because like that's like the be all end all for like comic book movies and action movies and that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I mean it would be kind of this movie's not gonna be, neither of these movies are gonna be rated R. At best they're gonna be PG-13. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. But as far as other elements from the Hollywood Reporter newsletter, I think we also found out that they were mentioning overall combined the amount of reshoots they've done for Superman amount to like a few days at best. And it wasn't anything significant. They were just additional photography, some pickup shots, like which is exactly what James Gunn told us before. But yeah, and Enterprising was pointing out exactly this. So there wasn't anything big. I don't know about Fantastic Four. I believe they maybe had gone through a bit more like an extensive reshoot. But TC24 was asking, can Kevin Feige even promote Spider-Man at Comic-Con? He doesn't usually show up if it's not Avengers or Civil War. Yeah, I mean, I think Kevin Feige might skip unless like Sony's doing a really huge panel. But even then, like if Sony's doing a panel, it's a Sony. I mean, it's hard because Marvel makes the movie, but then Sony distributes it. So I suppose if they have a big presence, Kevin Feige could be there theoretically. It would just depend again on, I guess, Kevin Feige's schedule. I mean, there's no easy answer to that. It just depends on, how big of a presence Spider-Man 4 might have. And if Kevin Feige deems like his presence be necessary. So he might just, like you are suggesting, might skip until next year when he has to talk about the Avengers, which is fair enough. The dude has a lot on his plate. He's like James Gunn, except he's got even more going on behind the scenes. So yeah. Antonio saying all the stuff is coming from My Time to Lie, aka Gris. Yeah. So as far as reporting from the weekend, I'm excited to see that the movie will be done in post-production in a few days' time. That's amazing. Like you could sit on it for that long. I mean, sure, maybe they can still tinker with it, but getting that rating done, I think would be fantastic. Pardon the pun. First one, yeah, PG-13 probably more likely. TC24, that's a fair point. I mean, most James Gunn movies, all the Guardians movies, I think were PG-13. In fact, most MCU movies are PG-13, minus the Deadpool one, of course. But with that in mind, I think we have sort of covered everything from CCXP and everything James Gunn said, and all the stuff from Fantastic Four as well. Look, both movies, at the end of the day, the bottom line is both movies can do really well. It's going to depend on the quality of the movies. I think if you're talking about marketing for both films, Superman, I think, is firmly ahead right now. It's also got an easier job because Superman is generally a more recognizable character, and we have gotten more recent iterations. Before we finish, though, I did want to get your response to this Hunter Iggy question earlier, though, John, because I feel like this James Gunn movie, this new Superman film from Gunn, will make more money than Zack Snyder's Justice League did, or Man of Steel did. But Man of Steel made $670 million, which is a pretty big number. The last two Marvel movies have failed to hit that number. Do you think that James Gunn's Superman will surpass Zack Snyder's Man of Steel at the box office? Or if it doesn't, do you think that's a reflection of maybe the times or more maybe the quality of the film itself? Oh, now you're muted.
Sorry, I was trying to, blow my nose and not have people hear it. But I think, I mean, are you okay? So I would like to believe that that's the case. I think it will. I mean, as we all know, my prediction is like a little under 800 million. I mean, would I want this, as I keep saying, would I want this to win $1 billion? Yes, of course I would. I do think it's going to be higher than 670. I think they're really pushing the marketing. They're really pushing the more family angle. Like I did finally see a preview for it during Karate Kid Legends. I finally saw a preview for it. And then, of course, immediately once the trailer starts, my dad starts fucking talking to me. I'm like, Dad, why are you talking to me? I want this is the first time I get to see this trailer on the big screen, and he's like yapping about some story. I'm like, I don't care. I want to watch Superman on this, and like half the trailer he was talking. So I'm like, it's like you couldn't talk to me during the Smurfs trailer. Like you had to talk to me during the fucking Superman trailer. Like, Dad, come on. I'm like, Dad, can you please be quiet? He's like, all right, I'll be quiet. And then I'm like, and then like later on in the car, or like, I'm like, what was the story you were trying to tell me? He's like, I don't remember. I'm like, okay, like clearly it wasn't important then. And I'm like, come on.
Clearly. I mean, well, but
So
yeah, I think the marketing for Superman has been more effective. If it doesn't make more than 670, I think that's more in line with I mean that movie. I want to see Karate Kid Legends myself. I think it looks pretty good, even if it's not get the best critics rating. The audiences love it, 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. But as far as Hunter Iggy's comment, yeah, I think Man of Steel made a good amount of money, but it also came out at a time when superhero movies were generally making more money. The box office still hasn't 100% recovered from the pandemic and the strikes in Hollywood. So I guess the quality of the movie is going to matter. They've done as good a job of marketing as anybody can. If it is a good movie, and obviously already we know it's been marketed well, it has every chance to cross the $700 million mark. It can make the money that the Batman did, so it will cross the 670 that Man of Steel did. If it doesn't, and it's like if it checks all the boxes on quality and marketing and good marketing, good quality, critics love it, audiences love it, and it still doesn't make 670, then I think you're looking at a situation where maybe the box office just doesn't have that much money in there to be given out. Like maybe that just comes out to not as many people are going to the movie theater as they used to. But I'm sure we'll find out. Like what some of you guys are saying, it will pass that number in its third week of release, which will be when Fantastic Four comes out. So yeah. I mean, John, they were asking, TC24 is asking, was there any notable crowd reaction from the Superman trailer when you were in the theaters?
Not a huge thing. I think there were a lot of people like kind of chitter chattering, like, oh, I want to see that, or oh, this looks interesting. Like, not a ton of reaction, but like, it's like something like that. Like nothing major, but like, yeah, some people were talking.
Yeah. By the way, also, the Glimmercast earlier asked about, I wonder if the supposed time cuts to James Gunn Superman were related to more available showtimes in theaters. Well, yeah, I mean, movies always want, like studios, I should say, always want their movie to be roughly 2 hours. Here's the thing: most scripts are meant to be like 100 to 120 pages, with the average being like, the rule of thumb is 1 page equals 1 minute. So 120 pages equals 120 minutes, 2 hours. So most movies, studios want them to be around 90 minutes to 2 hours. Anything that goes over that is like, now you're getting into like the overly long territory. Some movies need that time to tell the story that they want to tell. Most movies can get it done in around the 2 hours time, like more or less. Like we've seen Avengers movies be almost 3 hours. We've seen the Batman be almost 3 hours. The Batman still made a ton of money, so like it doesn't preclude you from making a lot of money. Avengers Endgame was like 3 hours and they made like 2 billion, like it's almost $3 billion. So it's not like the runtime directly has an effect on the amount of money it can make. It does affect the number of showings you can have in a day. So for a movie where the studio is not expecting it to be $1 billion film, they would like for it to be shorter, because then it can play more times in a day and have more opportunity to make money, or more opportunities to make money. So that's something to consider. But I don't think that I don't believe there were cuts being made to this movie where David Zaslav was asking James Gunn to cut 25 minutes out. It's just not the same situation. Zack Snyder had 5, 6, 7 different people above him that were giving him notes and asking him to do things that he had no choice but to do. James Gunn only has David Zaslav, and I don't think David Zaslav alone wants to have 25 minutes cut out. I don't even think he's involved at that level. I think he trusts James Gunn because that's why he hired him for the job. If anything, maybe Peter Safran gave him notes, but even then, Peter Safran is more on the production side. He's not on the creative side. So again, very different situation. Like, this is as close to Todd Phillips having carte blanche with the budget for Joker 2 as we can get with the DC movie, because it's James Gunn directing it. Like, he's the studio head directing the movie. It's like if Kevin Feige directed the next Avengers movie. Like, who's gonna give him notes? Bob Iger? Like, that's about it.
Exactly.
So, but anyway, Glimmercast asking a random question: is anyone on your team getting a Switch 2 this week, or sometime in the future? I'm so juiced for the launch this Thursday. Dude, I saw the notifications. I couldn't get my hands on any of the pre-orders, so I'm just resigned to wait until the thing actually comes out, and then I'm gonna be getting it. I think I want to get one of the Mario Kart bundles, so I'm gonna get it. I have to wait because I couldn't get the pre-orders in time. So I don't know about you, John. Are you getting the Switch 2?
How to say this? I don't want to bum your joy, and if you want to get a Switch 2, that is your prerogative to do with what you want with your money. However,
That's good to hear.
I
Global Cast.
have nothing but absolute seething hatred for what Nintendo is doing to not only their newest console, but what the domino effect will be for the video game industry. But you do you. So that's all I'm gonna say about that, because I don't want to get. I already ranted with Doctor Who. I don't want to rant
That's fair.
with
Yeah,
Nintendo. Since you seem
we'll
really
s-
excited, I don't want to bum your joy too much. So I'll just leave it at that.
No, I just enjoy the mode, because I mean, most PlayStation online multiplayer, whereas
Kind of going
with
in and out. I don't know if I'm going in and out or you're
multiplayer, I
going.
enjoy
Oh,
that.
you're going in and out. Yeah, your camera. Hello there. Hi.
Oh,
Technical problems. So how you doing, guys? How we doing here? We got to get a technical problem fixed first because his camera is going out. But yeah, I don't. I mean, Glimmercast. I saw your channel. Go subscribe to Glimmercast, guys. She's doing stuff similar to what we're doing, so go subscribe to her. Also, hi, Caleb. But yeah, honestly, I'm I'm PC Master Race at this point. Like, I mean, I still like game with friends on my PS4, but that's kind of it. It's just like everything I love about, like, I'm starting to get into gaming more. But we're gonna be talking about the dynamic duo concept, I think, a little bit later. Um, yes, we appreciate it. We appreciate similar channel styles. I think you only have like 100 so subscribers. So, we were there. I was there. Yeah, my other channel, the Cool Kids, is kind of there right now. We're getting up there, but like, everybody starts somewhere. I think you show a lot of promise. So I would say, guys, if you don't have a ton of content now, and I think you have like 4 videos, a couple shorts, so like it's growing, and like, I was there at one point. Yeah, I wasn't here for the beginning of Oh So Curious, so I don't know like that, but like I was there at one point for a small channel, and I gotta help out. I feel like for instance, when I'm going through YouTube shorts and I see like a person with not a lot of subscribers and not a lot of video views, not a lot of likes, I try to leave a comment and a like, be like, hey, you're doing great. So yeah, awesome, that's great. But love to see it. Anyway, hi Dan, you okay, buddy?
I'm good. Just my computer glitched out for a second there, so I'm sorry about that,
Because I'm like,
guys.
oh God, am
No.
I going out? Because I was like, is that you or is it me where I can't see you? I look like I'm okay, but I'm really yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, but I mean, the Glimmercast, your channel looks fantastic. I'm gonna be subscribing to both of your channels, but that's awesome. Then thank you for joining us here for the conversation. We would love to bring you all in. We can do a collaboration sometime. Like it's we're all in the same community, that's it's all the fun. But to kind of put a period on the Superman Fantastic Four conversation for now, because I'm sure we're gonna get into it once we get into DCU Daily proper. Oh my God, we're not even there yet. What a
yeah,
long
it's
show
2.5 hours. Yeah, no sleep till 5 a.m., guys.
Literally.
What a great return
Literally.
back. Not getting sleep.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, I'm sure the rest of the week will get a little bit easier. But guys, let us know in the comments down below what you think about all the announcements from CCXP. James Gunn talking about Superman with John Cena, as well as Peacemaker. Of course, we have all the other new footage from Fantastic Four. Everything else we talked about, including the Marvel versus DC comparisons. Do you believe Fantastic Four has more pressure on it? Or is it going to be Superman? Which movie will make more money? Which movie will have the bigger opening weekend? Let us know in the comments down below. Right now, we're going to move on to the last news story before we get into the quick hits, which of course are all the trailers. Now, you might be thinking, we already talked about like 5 trailers with Netflix earlier, but John, it was CCXP time. So like a lot of different studios released trailers for both movies and TV shows. The first of these trailers that I want to get into is for Megan 2.0, and I know that you're not a fan of this franchise, so I'll just like do the talking here for the most part. I watched this trailer and I had so much fun with this, guys. I'm like, it's hilariously over the top, and like I agree with what Gizmodo said in this article, because you watch this trailer and I'm like, you know what? In a word, like here's the thing. Megan
Hello, guys. It looks like Dan is glitching again. Hi, sorry, I muted it because I don't want to talk about M3gan. Because I hate everything about that. Every time I see that trailer, I just want to just like take a cookie sheet to the face, honestly. But
yeah, sorry. I guess the issues persist.
Yes.
But okay, well, just to quickly kind of mention, oh, where's the
You got to
window?
share your screen, buddy.
There we go.
This is
I figured it
great.
out. This is
Anyway, I'm going back out.
Okay. Fembot Trap the movie. Here's what I'll say about this in one sentence. Megan 2.0 is the fastest I've seen any franchise jump the shark in a sequel ever. It's great. I love it because I'm like, this just went from being like a small horror movie that's like all the AI vibes into straight up, this is like a combination of RoboCop times, I don't know, like Alita the Battle Angel and a superhero movie, and it's rated R as F, but it's hilarious. Like, hold on to your vaginas. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, it's so over the top. It is corny. It is funky. But you know what? Caleb's like, Megan 2 sucks sad badly. Crash dance camera. It's partly responsible. I have too many things open on my computer. That's probably what it is. After Men in Black. Well, hey, Swag fan liked the first Megan. I don't know what direction they're going with this one. Yeah, you know what? That's the thing. That's exactly it. This movie is about as wild a turn from the first film. Like the premise. I mean, look, the central they don't abandon the central premise, but essentially in the trailer they say, "Well, I'm not the only killer robot out there, and there's others out there that are more dangerous than me. Wait till you get to meet them." And apparently they get to a point where our man, I forget what's the name of this actress, is she ends up being in like a suit that Megan is controlling at one point in the movie. So it's wild, but it's wild in a way that I just found it funny and entertaining. I was like, you know what? I'm down. Like, this whole sequence is like, my readings tell me you were aroused. Like, after she beats up all the people in the room. I'm like, great. This is the kind of movie I'm gonna walk into, is just turn your brain off and watch it. It's like The Beekeeper, and all those Jason Statham movies. It's just there to have fun. Like, at one point she starts dancing because she's blending in with the crowd. Too many cooks in the kitchen? I don't know. I mean, I feel like this movie has a very consistent vibe to it. I'm down. Look, I'm down for a dumb fun movie every once in a while. So yeah, TC24, it is kind of insane. Although we did talk DC stuff for like 45 minutes, so it is a long show today. Is that a chick from Get Out? Is she? I think she is. You know what? You might be right. Yeah. No longer a fanfic. Yeah. Yep. Well, look, I love the trailer. It looks fantastic. What's the name of the actress that I was talking about earlier? Somebody will Allison Williams. There you go. Yeah, she is from Get Out. But this movie looks good. You know what? I don't think it's gonna have like 100% Rotten Tomatoes rating, although it could surprise you. The first one did. So we will have to wait and see how good it turns out to be. The Glimmercast saying ticket pre-orders are already open for my AMC. LOL. Yeah, June 27th. I mean, it's coming out in what is that, like 3 weeks? A little over 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. Go check it out. I'm gonna go see it. And I might have more fun with it than the first one. I don't know. I like the brand of humor. I feel like they leaned into the right aspects of this movie, or at least the franchise coming off the first film, because they could have gone in the direction of like, where a lot of sequels they try to do the same thing again in some way, and you just feels repetitive, or they try to learn all the wrong lessons. For all we know, that is all exactly what has happened here, but the sense of humor of the trailer certainly was good. I'm like, this could be a really good trailer to a really bad movie. We'll just have to wait and find out. So that's all I gotta say for that. So John, feel free to step back in. But I thought this was an enjoyable. It was enjoyable. It was an enjoyable trailer for Megan 2.0 for me. John just refused to watch it on principle alone. So there you go. But John, I don't know if you saw this other trailer or if you also didn't watch it on principle alone, because Gen V season 2 put out a trailer, and that's announced going to have a 3-episode premiere September 17, kind of following the Disney Plus model with the 3-episode premiere. It's like the mid-season show that's meant to kind of hold us over till the next season of The Boys. I watched this trailer. This feels very much like, obviously a direct continuation of season 1, and it's as gory as before, a moody and character drama heavy, but as somebody who's not the biggest fan of the Boys franchise, I'm like, this is good. It's good. It looks a bit darker than what we got in season 1 in some ways, but again, it's just a trailer, and I guess as somebody who's on the fence, it hasn't quite convinced me to go watch season 2, but we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe the second trailer will do that. So yeah. Enterprising talking about the Megan 2.0 trailer. Yeah. Yep. And like Glimmercast said, the tickets are on pre-sale for Megan 2.0. Go ahead and see it. Welcome to the superhero Hunger Games. That's pretty much the vibe of the trailer. That's on point. Enterprising. I'll stick to Invincible for Caleb. I mean, John, do you have anything to add to that for the
not really
Gen V season 2?
I don't really care.
You're not the biggest fan.
I don't really like The Boys. I don't really like this show. I don't really care about the shows. I don't care about the world. Yeah.
Well, it comes out September 17th on Prime Video, 3-episode premiere. So if you're a fan, you'll get a lot of it right out the gates. Glimmercast saying, I'm on the fence for Gen V, but I'm excited for the Soldier Boy prequel series.
I will say
I
that
am excited about.
Seems more interesting. Yeah. I will say he was definitely one of the best parts of the show. So maybe I'll give that a watch. Probably not, but
yeah. Well, but John, with that, I mean, Swag Fan saying he didn't even get into Gen V. It was meant to be like the mid-season show, like that kind of holds you over between the Boys seasons. But I don't know when The Boys next season is coming out, if that's coming out before Gen V comes out in September. So that might have changed up. But to answer Steven's question, we did cover Stranger Things earlier. We did a whole TUDUM segment where we covered all the Netflix announcements. So, be kind and rewind and check that out if you want to. We talked for Stranger Things for like a good 10-15 minutes. So that was probably like in the first hour of the show, first hour and a half, something like that. It was a long time ago. It's ancient history by now. But you're welcome to go back and check that out. In the meantime, though, John, let me see what's going on here. Is my computer acting up again? I'm trying to load up the trailer for Dexter Resurrections. So let's see if we can get to that. But that's the other thing I want to talk about, because I know you're a big fan of that franchise. Did you watch that trailer? What did you think about it?
It was interesting. It's weird to see like Dexter like so cinematic and like not I haven't watched Original Sin yet, but it's like you have this fucking all-star cast. You have like Michael C. Hall coming back, even though many times he said, I'm never coming back, I'm dead, and then they fucked up the ending again, and they're like, all right, I guess I'm coming back. We have Harrison, we have like this Illuminati of serial killers, which is weird as hell. So I'm very curious how this is gonna. We have James Remar coming back as his like conscience rather than Jennifer Carpenter as Deb. So I'm curious how they're gonna utilize that. But I'm just it's very curious, and I feel like they're really just leaning into like the whole ridiculous premise of the show of a guy who kills bad people, like a serial killer who kills bad people. So I'm like, okay, let's go full bonkers with it. It's like, what this is like the encapsulation of a show of like don't fuck with a man that has nothing left to lose. Literally, the Dexter show, according to many people, screwed up the ending twice. They literally have nothing to lose at this point. They don't. They're like, might as well go all in. Illuminati of serial killers, Peter Dinklage, Uma Thurman, David Dastmalchian, and Neil Patrick Harris. Sure, add it to the list. We're gonna go crazy with it. So I think that's really interesting. I don't know if I'm like hugely excited for it. Like it could be one of those like shows that's like so bad it's good. Um Um, although Caleb saying, yeah, I mean, because the fucking boys are the show and those writers are hypocrites. They become the very thing they swore to destroy, and like they become like cringy superhero fare, even though that's the thing they're allegedly making fun of. So, um, but yeah, like it's like, and it's a shame that's like the boys is the only one that's like properly quote unquote making fun of bad superhero media, because then all the fucking anti-cape shit people are like, oh, I hate superhero movies, so I'm gonna watch The Boys, even though it's not a good show. It's not written well. I mean, it's like competently made, but like in terms of like technical like acting and like it looks fine. Like it's kind of making fun of the Snyder-esque look, where it's like very muted color palette and that kind of thing. Or people just suck with colorisms and all that colorizing. I don't know, like because there's nobody likes using color except for Wes Anderson. That's like the rule now. But yeah, it just like I don't know. I'm just kind of so sick of them, and it's just like it feels like nobody else is like doing that, and it's just like Invincible is like the only thing that Invincible is doing is like being like hyper violent, and it's like all right, sure, but yeah, going back to Dexter, I think I don't know if Invincible really is not a deconstruction. It's just violent, which isn't bad. Like it's like I think they're utilizing intriguing things of like the superhero medium and kind of going against those tropes, but like at the same time, it is still a superhero story. It's not a deconstruction. It's just a superhero story that's like kind of subverting certain things. But the thing is, it's still buying into the whole multiverse crap. It's still like it's a Superman story. That's the whole point of Invincible, is that it's a Superman story. Invincible is Superman. Like he's the naive, quote unquote, like happy-go-lucky guy that wants the world, wants what's best for the world and all that. So you have that, and then so I don't think it's like, I mean, it's clever and it's well done. I don't think it's a deconstruction. But going back to Dexter, I think this is an intriguing show. I like how they're kind of going into like the like instead of like the polar opposite of what he was doing in New Blood, which was like super like, oh, let's go super remote, nobody knows who I am. Let's go. It's like, oh, let's fucking bleed into the Big Apple where like really nobody, despite all the people, nobody really knows who you are. So I like that aspect. So I like how they're going for New York City, even though they're probably filming in like Vancouver or something. So yeah,
I mean, my biggest question for you would be, I don't know if you addressed this already. The last couple of revivals they've done, people didn't like. Do you think this one finally looks like they got it right on like what is a third try?
I don't know. We'll see about the ending, because like the first show, like I would say the first 6 seasons range from good to like amazing. The last 2 seasons were pretty bad. Like seasons 1, 2, and 4 were fucking amazing. And then seasons 5 and 6 were really good, where I would say maybe even great. And then season 3 was good. It wasn't bad, but it was good. And then season 7 and 8, which just got like Yvonne Strahovski was just terrible. They bring in Charlotte Rampling, where it's like, oh, I gave him the code, and it just got so dumb. And then it was like we got 2 terrible seasons, and it was just like it was a sinker from there. It probably should have ended with like season 6, where it's like like she finds out he's a serial killer and then like kills him or something, and like it would be anticlimactic, but it would be better than what we got. And then I liked New Blood, and I didn't mind the ending there. I thought Clancy Brown was great. I thought his relationship with Harrison was pretty good. The kid was like kind of didn't have a ton of experience, so he was still not like he was a little wooden, but like he was a young kid, so it's fine. But I still didn't mind that ending. I know everybody hated that ending more than the original ending, but like I think it got like a good ending. Like he dies. Where the fuck else can you go? Well, they got to resurrect him, and he escapes, and he becomes part of the serial killing Illuminati. All right, sure, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Speaking of jumping the shark, jumping the shark right here.
Yeah, it's the Avengers of Dexter shows, but we'll have to just wait and see how it turns out. The trailer's out there now. I don't know. My mileage with Dexter varies, so I'm not entirely convinced yet. But hey, John, I know you are a big fan of the Black Phone, and back when the movie came out, I think Roland was on the show. He was reviewing it, and we had a good time talking about the movie. But the Black Phone 2 is coming, and they also put out a trailer. What did you think about that one? I mean, it was also at CCXP, like we've been talking about all show long.
I thought it was an excellent trailer. I watched it twice so far. It's probably going to be the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie since the fourth one. It's honestly like I love the first Black Phone. Scott Derrickson knows atmosphere, knows horror. I love Sinister. I thought, and even like his non-horror projects, like Doctor Strange, and I've heard The Gorge is pretty good. So, but like how he does horror is really good, and like he's one of the few directors that knows how to make jump scares scary. And I'm like, when they announce, oh yeah, we're getting a Black Phone 2, and I'm like, huh? What do you mean we're getting a Black Phone 2? He's fucking dead. What the fuck are you gonna do? Are you just gonna have it be like, oh, it's about another like magic black phone, and it's gonna kind of be a similar premise? But no, they're like, no, Ethan Hawke is coming back, and it's like, okay, what are you gonna do? And now like everyone's like, how in the hell? Yeah, my friend was singing to the trailer when I showed it to him. But I was like, how the hell are they going to do this? I'm like, I'm curious because Scott Derrickson's coming back, and then Mason Thames is coming back, the better Mason Thames movie of 2025. And then finally, like as I said, Ethan Hawke. So I'm like, what the hell are they going to do? Make him Freddy Krueger. Boom. There you go. All right, cool. We did it. We created one of the best horror movies of this year. Let's go. And but yeah, like the first Black Phone was so fucking good. Like that was like I loved how that movie was an ultimate screw you to Marvel, because like Scott Derrickson left Doctor Strange 2 on bad terms because he's like, creative differences, I don't want to deal with this crap. And then they bring in, let's bring in like a famous horror director who did superhero movies like Sam Raimi. Oh my God. And then everyone hated Multiverse of Madness. And then the Black Phone was like this underground amazing hit. It was
not
fantastic.
It made $980 million, but I'm
just saying, okay. And and Transformers 4 made $1 billion. All right, like come on.
Hey! Don't! It's Michael Bay and Marky Mark. Okay. Well, the second movie was terrible.
Guys, I think we found a Transformer. Yeah. Like,
it's
come
like,
on.
I love the part where he like snaps the Budweiser bottle. He's like call your insurance because like, are you gonna? Who's
he should have done Clayface.
Yeah.
There you go.
John Constantine would be nice too. What I will say about Scott Derrickson, though, great director. Didn't he do one of the Jurassic World movies? Like, was like one of the ones in the previous trilogy?
Oh, the only ones that did it were Colin Trevorrow and J.A. Bayona, who did When a Monster Calls.
Okay. Okay, so he did Doctor Strange. His Doctor Strange was fantastic. I thought that was a good movie. It wasn't the best thing Marvel's ever done. It was definitely like a level below the best of the Marvel, but it was good. I think the first Black Phone was a breakout hit, and I'm glad they're doing a second one.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the hell are they gonna do? And I love because he's kind of implementing. I mean, he kind of did it with the first Black Phone, but he did it a lot with Sinister. Was like 8mm. So he's bringing like the dream sequences are all in like film, like grainy film reel, which I love. And then like Mason Thames, this dude is majorly hit puberty in between movies. And then he was so good in the first movie. He all the kids in that movie were so good, like they very different parts of like ways to like help this kid. And Ethan Hawke was just so fucking creepy. Like he was so good.
He
And
did
he
an
looks
amazing
creepy
job,
here too.
yeah.
Like he looks scary. So like that's what they're doing. And I really like exactly. That's exactly like when it's Raimi being Raimi, it's perfect. When it's MCU being MCU, it sucks. But Black Phone, love that movie. So this honestly might be even better than the first one, which is saying a lot. And I'm curious if Joe Hill had any input because he wrote the short story that the first one is based on. So you know, I think this would be great. I think this is going to be great. I really like the direction it's going. I'm so stoked for it. Yeah, like very grindhouse, very like very 70s, which is when it takes place. But yeah, it looks awesome, and I can't fucking wait. Like him, like ice, like like there's moments where it's like it should be dumb, but it's not. And you have like him like ice skating with an axe, and I'm like, this should be stupid, but it's not. Yeah, this scene right here, like it shouldn't work.
It
Like,
shouldn't work,
be
but
scary,
it's
but it
just-
is, and it's brilliant.
Oh, it's
and
the
I love it.
atmospherics of it,
Yeah,
right? And how they're
exactly.
filming it.
Like,
yeah.
and again, the grainy film reel. I love a lot about what this movie's going for.
It's
So,
just atmosphere for days. I think that's what
Yeah.
it is. It is a great.
I mean,
trailer.
he's
It-
good
it
at it.
is.
He's so
Yeah.
good at it.
Oh, that kid did hit puberty in a big way. Wow. This is kind of like almost like It in a way, sort of. I don't know. That's a pretty far fetched comparison.
I
but-
mean, it makes sense. The original short story was a Joe Hill short story, and he is the son of Stephen King. So it kind of
that
works.
kind of makes sense. Okay. I will say, like Scott Derrickson, the Gorge, that's on Apple TV Plus. That's a good movie.
I
It's a very-
still need to.
I watched it. I mean,
watch
Anya
it.
Taylor-Joy, Miles Teller, amazing. It has Sigourney Weaver in it as well. She plays like one of the bad guys. And then, I mean, the movie has a very limited premise. I think I compared it to that Scarlett Johansson, Ewan McGregor movie from back in the day, where it's like a nice sci-fi thought experiment come to life in a movie. And they keep the premise limited. They don't try to like make it a world saving the world situation. Sort of, but like it's not really like they're trying to save, like a swirling ring of trash in the sky kind of situation. It's not any of those things, but it's a good movie and it has the horror aspects in it. Scott Derrickson does a great job of making the most of the resources and telling a good atmospheric story that really shines. Like I think this movie does. Like it's very much has a specific identity. Like you can't confuse this with anything else. So, and it's coming out October 17th. I'm gonna be there for it. That's gonna be around Halloween time. Perfect timing. So, this trailer looks great, and I mean they put out a poster for it as well. So, I mean Blumhouse. I mean Atomic Monster. So this is why am I forgetting the name? He directed the two Aquaman movies.
James Wan.
This is his label, Atomic Monster. So working at Universal.
Yes, Caleb. Yes, fucking thank you. Fuck Art the Clown. Art the Clown fucking sucks. Art the Clown is the grabber's bitch. There, I fucking said it. Fuck Art the Clown.
There you go.
Fuck Terrifier.
Nico,
fucking
Michael
garbage.
Bay, and Henry Cavill from Man of Steel too. Yeah, I mean if that ever happens. Okay, cool. All right, I think we're gonna move on to the next trailer, John. Yep, you're not muted, but okay. So actually, you know what? That's it. That's all the trailers. That's all the trailers we got. We got through all the trailers. Wow, that took a long time.
And we only fucking ducked out like 4 times, so it's cool.
Sorry about that. The poster does remind me of The Witcher. That's true. The Black Phone.
And remember, dead is just a word.
That is just a word. Well, with that, guys, let us know in the comments down below which of the trailers at CCXP did you enjoy the most? Was it the Black Phone 2? Was it Dexter Resurrection? or was it Megan 2.0? That was my favorite of the bunch. Even though it's cheesy as heck, but I enjoyed it. Gen V season 2 trailer. Let us know in the comments down below which of those did you like the most. That also now brings us to a close on the news segment. Now we have to get into the quickets, John. So yeah, we're gonna have to make them real quick because we then still have DCU Daily coming up. So there we go.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm
HD.
gonna give
Okay,
like one word answers, and you better not like stay on. I'm giving a one word answer, and then we're moving on. Okay.
Yep.
Just keep that in mind.
Lots of trailers this weekend. Keeping that in mind. Absolutely. All right. So let me load up the quick hits and let's find the music for it. We usually have the Bossa Nova elevator music. There we go. There it is. Okay. So the quick hits, we've got like a dozen of them sort of. So let's dive into it, shall we? The first one. Thank you, Caleb. The Legend of Zelda live action movie is reportedly eyeing a popular pick to play Princess Zelda. Of course, I'm talking about Hunter Schafer. Is being eyed, according to Daniel Rickman, for the role. I feel like that would be a good fit. I have no problem with that myself.
I think she would be a great fit. Great fit. Seeing all the transphobes cry, especially in the month of Pride. Great stuff. Absolutely. I think she would be great. I still need to see Cuckoo.
I have zero problems with her casting. I think she'd be inspired casting. Anya Taylor-Joy is another name that's been thrown around, but I think she'd be inspired casting. The next thing, Amazon MGM Studios are now in talks to acquire a hot video game package called Split Fiction. And they're going to be teaming up John M. Chu, of course, the director of the 2 Wicked movies, with Sydney Sweeney. John, is this one that excites you? Split Fiction live action?
I've had friends telling me to play it. John M. Chu, I'm iffy on. I liked Wicked, but Sydney Sweeney, great. I don't know if I'll watch this. I might play the game first.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. I'm very proud of that. All right, moving on to the next thing. Disney layoffs. So not such good news, but Disney did lay off hundreds of people in their TV and film entertainment and corporate finance divisions. It's never a good thing when we hear about this kind of layoffs kind of a story. I'm sure when the Paramount Skydance merger goes through, they'll have layoffs, but it looks like most of it was limited to Disney Entertainment Television staffers, and we did get some executives who got the pink slip as well, and their names have become public since. We're not going to go into that. John, your thoughts on this?
Disney sucks.
Yeah,
I'm sad people have to lose their jobs.
It does suck, especially because
it's at
a time when Disney.
The only jobs that need to be laid off are the rich assholes that don't contribute anything good in the art of filmmaking.
Yeah, I mean it's at a time where Disney has been outperforming all their Wall Street expectations. Their latest quarterly report was really good, so I'm surprised this is the time they're doing it. But anyway, yeah, it is Pride Month, so guys, absolutely go out there and support. There's going to be probably events around you, and you can go attend those events and really, let's be supportive wherever we possibly can. Hunter Schafer could be the new Zelda, or Princess. That's yes. But Split Fiction did just came out. I was reading an article the other day about how now video game adaptations are the new hot IP, so it makes sense that a brand new game is already getting adapted for a movie. But hey, speaking of Disney, Evangeline Lilly was asked if she'll be returning as the Wasp in the upcoming Avengers movies. John, she just gave a wink emoji. What do you think?
Don't care. Ant-Man movies suck. Disney sucks now. Marvel sucks now. I don't care.
Cool. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see her. Of course, she's firmly a part of the MCU, and so yeah, we wouldn't be surprised. I mentioned earlier when we were talking about Barbie that we'll have a Mattel story. Well, here it is. Mattel has combined their film and TV units to create Mattel Studios, a little bit of a Marvel Studios, DC Studios vibe, promoting Robbie Brenner and hiring 3 more executives. So it looks like, the studio that has already got a dozen different projects. Of course, Barbie was one of them they've been working on. What was that other project? The Whack-A-Mole feature that they're working on with Sony. They also currently have American Girl, Hot Wheels, Bob the Builder, Magic 8 Ball, Major, Matt Mason, Polly Pocket, Rock'em Sock'em, Robots, Thomas and Friends, Uno, Viewmaster, and Wishbone projects in development, as well as a live-action Barney movie that Ayo Adeberry is set to write for A24 alongside Daniel Kaluuya. John, your thoughts on Mattel Studios?
The end is nigh, ladies and gents. The asteroid can't come soon enough.
Damn, I think they're waiting too long between the Barbie movie whenever they want to launch this. I don't think there's going to be a Barbie sequel, but they're definitely working on a Whack-A-Mole movie, so there you go. As well as Bob the Builder, Thomas and Friends, Uno movie. I wonder what an Uno movie is going to look like. That would be fun. I still think the most creative board game adaptation movie ever is Battleship. Just gonna put it out there. Any chance that I get to quote Battleship? But hey, John.
How do you fucking say that when Jumanji and Clue exists?
I just because I am partial to Battleship.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm just
no, stop. Anyway.
Okay, Boston Blue, the new show that's set to come out soon, has now got a new cast member, Maggie Lawson of Psych fame. I love her in Psych. I love Psych in general. All day long, Maggie Lawson is now joining the Blue Bloods offshoot for CBS, Sean.
Don't care.
I think you were commenting there on the other story, Swag fan. But there we go. Moving on to the next thing. The Accountant 2 has set a Prime Video premiere date, and that date is Thursday, June 5th, John. Are you going to check it out again?
No, I saw it once. I'm going to focus on stuff I haven't seen.
Perfect. The movie made like a little over 100 million.
Not saying that's if you didn't catch it in theaters, I'd say watch it on Prime.
Yeah.
June 5th, go watch it. It's a very good movie. Please, but I'm just saying. I already saw it. I want to focus on stuff I haven't seen.
I know this is quick. By the way, I'm gonna see this like as many times as I can because I had fun with the movie. But I feel like we should have put that Mattel story and not in Quickets. Because there's so much like stupid shit to mine from that story. Rock'em.
We could talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Liz can go off on it. I would love to see
totally.
that.
Yep, it's connected to Talk to Me. Bring Her Back is really good. Yes, the Sonic formula could work too.
Yeah, that could work. I don't know. I didn't like Talk to Me very much. It kind of gets worse for me as time goes on. Wasn't interested in Bring Her Back, but that's just me.
Yep.
Oh, speaking of Nobody Wants This.
Nobody wants this. Yeah, Nobody Wants This season 2 premiere date set on Netflix. This is of course off of TUDUM. October 23rd is when it's gonna have its premiere. So back for a second season. Kristen Bell, of course, still part of the show. Adam Brody, Justin Loop, Timothy Simons, and Jackie Tone. John, did you watch the first season? Are you interested in the second?
I don't want this either.
I mean, look, the first season was like chart topping, so I'm sure people will watch it.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler, of course, has no plans for a sequel for Sinners because he recently was saying, I've been in a space of making franchise films for a bit, so I wanted to get away from that. I want it to be a holistic and finished thing. So it looks like Sinners, for as much as people might want a sequel, there will never be one. Thoughts?
Good. Great creative movie. Doesn't need a sequel. Perfect. That's what I like to see.
Nice. I feel
Although,
like you keep
I mean,
bringing
I
up
would
that
love to
comment,
see
by
more
the way.
of Haley Steinfeld as a vampire because perfection, but keep it a one shot. That's all we need. Greatness, and then that's it. A great movie, and then it leaves us. Wow, what a thought.
Is my video just like paused right now? Is that what's
No,
going on?
you're a black screen right now.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I can see myself. Like, what is going on?
Hold on, I could show you what my screen looks like. Yeah, sorry, Dan. You gotta get your camera checked. Maybe you need my camera right here.
Maybe. Oh, is there a twirling wheel of nothing? Okay, never mind. Wow. Give me 1 second.
Hi guys, how are you? I'm here. I'm here to talk about I don't know. I think there was an NBA thing. Duck season, wabbit season, duck season, wabbit season. Anyway. But you doing better? Did
Yeah.
you change your
see me?
camera?
No, it's the same camera. Any? No.
No, you're good.
I'm good.
Full video, and it's
Okay.
HD. Nice
It's
HD,
HD.
Dan.
All right, thank you. We figured it out. All right, wow. Technical issues galore today, but you know what? I this is why I wanted to be on camera because I genuinely, this is my favorite Quicket of the day. 35 seasons of NBA basketball, some of the best sports programming, especially studio programming, of 3.5 decades. I grew up on inside the NBA. It's hard for me to imagine that NBA is not going to be on TNT anymore, and they finally wrapped things up because the Eastern Conference Finals finished. And so with the Pacers advancing to the finals, beating the Knicks, that was the last of, inside the NBA on TNT and just, NBA on TNT. So It was just really special to see this. I mean, I teared up because I love watching these guys. Like, you got Chuck and of course Shaq in there, and Ernie, and it's Kenny. It's a whole team. I love Inside the NBA so much. I remember when Shaq was joining, all the video promos they would do, like he would drive in his like monster truck into the parking lot, and he got a special parking lot and everything. It's like David Zaslav did not want to pay up for another 10 years of NBA. I get it, it's a business decision. They've got a lot of other sports rights, but it's gonna be sad like not seeing it. I mean, and yes, great to see NBC getting NBA backs for the first time since the 90s, but I never thought, I mean, TNT's relationship with the NBA goes back way before that even. So yeah. But no, Swag fan, I loved Inside the NBA. I mean, the Inside the NBA program though is not going away entirely, because like Ernie Johnson said, and this was announced a few months ago, they do have a licensing deal now with ESPN. So Ernie was saying, let's enjoy this. They can't get rid of us. It's not like they're going to do Inside the NBA every time ESPN has primetime games on. They're just going to do it every so often, especially like All-Star Weekend and stuff. So yeah, the crew's going to be hanging around, but no more on TNT. So I don't know, John, is this one that you can relate to?
I don't watch basketball. I'm sure my dad might be upset. He watches some basketball, so
yeah. I mean, these guys are like, they've won like several dozen Emmys. I mean, I only just won my second Emmy this year. Like, these guys have won like 30.
All right, yeah, humble brag.
I had to throw it in there because they're won sports Emmys, so did I. It's like anyway. Zaslav, Destroyer of Dreams, Caleb. Yeah, I mean, look, the show was, especially because they would have conversations about subject matters like that you really, a lot of people wouldn't want to touch. And you really always felt like they were a family show, right? In the sense that they weren't just, making TV.
They weren't just guys talking about basketball. It was like a unit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, Underdog and all the graphics and like the ribbing on the shows, and like Shaq and Chuck clearly are like, two brothers from other mothers. I mean, you got Underdog there in that image there. Of course, there's a lot of folks, like Craig Sager, who's passed away. And the work that he did, all the people that work with them now, some of them are going to continue to work on the Unrivaled League. I don't know what's going on with NBA TV, because that's also something that at TNT these guys ran, so maybe they'll still continue to do that. It's a whole, it's truly an era that's come to an end. So yeah, but it was sad to see that. Like, it's hard to watch something like that come to an end. Obviously, like I said, the show will exist in some capacity over at ESPN moving forward, but yeah. I mean, they did, and you know what, that's the thing, John, though, because on the DC side, because this was Warner Brothers and TNT, they're all under the same house. That's where we got the Peacemaker first trailer, the teaser trailer earlier this year, and all. Like, they did this a lot in AEW and everything. Now they won't have that. Obviously, they have the NHL, they have NASCAR coming up, a few things like that. But thank you, Glimmercast. Yeah, the second sports Emmy, both for the Olympics. So with NBC, ironically enough. Now we're talking about NBC getting the NBA. But Swag fan saying, you really don't have to be a basketball fan to love the show. That's what made it great. Absolutely, that's what made it great. Yeah, but anyway, hey, Shaq and Chuck, cracked us up, and hopefully they'll still be able to do that in whatever capacity they might be in, over at ESPN. But moving on, John, the True Detective creator, Nick Pizzolatto has a story for Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson to reprise Cole and Hart, and he said that they're open to it. It's just a question of whether that would ever happen or not, the former franchise head said in a recent podcasting interview. Do you think we could see Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey return to True Detective, John?
I wouldn't want them to, because I feel like it would make the first season less special, and the first season is still considered like the best season of the show. So I would say just keep them for that one season, and that's it.
You know what? That's fair enough. That is fair enough. They should do an AEW thing. Definitely rock this. Dude, you know what, Elite EZ? That would be fun. I'm sure Shaq wants to wrestle. Any chance he gets, he'll wrestle. Or at least try to. But anyway, hey, that's the end of the quick hits, guys. Let us know in the comments down below. What was your favorite story? Was it, the True Detective story? I'm gonna cut that music off there. Was it the Blue Bloods casting? Was it my technical glitch issues? Like, what was your favorite story of the Quick Hits segment? Let us know in the comments down below. See, we roll with the punches here. That's what we're here for. This is live TV or live internet TV, whatever you want to call it. Maybe a series. Yeah. Comments coming in fast. I kind of want to see them together, Woody and Matthew. Yeah, maybe another project, or maybe we will get that. Maybe we'll get that revival to their version of True Detective. But you know what? Right now we're gonna give you guys a revival of DCU Daily. So welcome on in to another episode of DCU Daily proper. Because of course, despite the fact that we spent like a good 40 minutes on Peacemaker talk earlier, we still have some DC news to get into. So let's do that, shall we? John, as I always ask you, which of the stories that we have left on the DC docket for today are your favorite? Like, what are you looking forward to the most?
Oh God, just getting back into it. Holy shit. I don't know. I like the Penguins meeting. I like seeing all like the tie-in stuff of crypto. Honestly, since I'm a fat piece of shit, Carl's Jr. Seeing that collab. I still got to go to once Dairy Queen announces the Superman stuff, like officially the Blizzard and the food and all that. I'm heading there. I'm doing it. I am doing it.
Now that we're in the month of June, we are finally just 1 month away from Superman coming out. I mean, it's still a little over a month away, but like 35 days. Or am I getting that right? 35 days as of this Friday. So we're getting closer and closer. And I love that somebody like did this fun cut of the trailer, except it's like set to the tune of "Don't Stop Me Now" from Queen, and it's like it just matched up perfectly to the shots in the trailer. I think they combined footage from the both trailers to make it work. And I just wanted to point it out because every day on the show somebody says we are 35 days away, or 45 days, or 57 days. And you know what? We're getting closer and closer. It's just gonna be, any day now we're gonna be like, oh, the movie's here. We're gonna go walk in. It's like 2-3 years of build, and finally we're about to have the movie come out. So I just wanted to kind of point this out. But you know what? James Gunn is working hard to promote the movie, even helping Superman lift up the sign a little bit. And then I saw some like Snyder trolls pointing out like, oh my God, James Gunn has to help, do all this heavy lifting. Bring back Henry Cavill. At least he could like lift a rocket, like, because they put the rocket photo from BVS next to him. I'm like, come on, man. Like, really? That's what you thought of? I mean, I thought you were like, it was in jest, but apparently there's still some Snyder fans out there, like some haters, some cultists, as we call them. But John, the Glimmercast asking, what kind of music do you think they'll use in the movie? I feel like we've done like 5 episodes on this in the past, but
yes, I think James Gunn did say that he's not gonna have like the
where's the marketing?
He said he's not gonna have like the traditional music that like soundtrack like a
what
Guardians.
we're used to from his movies.
Yeah, like the pop hits. We might be getting a couple, but I think we're mostly just going to be getting John Murphy's soundtrack. And
yeah, more of an orchestral soundtrack.
Yeah, more
John Murphy, and what was the name?
And David Fleming.
David Fleming, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
I knew there was the other guy, but I thank you for reminding me of that. I forgot about that.
Yep. He does look great here. He does. I mean, the color looks different because it's like depending, like the shade of blue changes, I feel like, depending on what you're looking at. But it's also maybe just the camera versus like it's a print thing versus the like CMYK RGB thing. No worries though, Glimmercast. I mean, you're welcome to obviously like if you want to go back and search our catalog. We've talked about it at I think we even did like our fan, we actually did a fan casting for the soundtrack for Superman. I feel like now that we're closer to the movie, John, maybe we should do like a redo on that. Let's go back knowing like what James Gunn has said will be and will not be on there. And Peacemaker will probably also have needle drops. So yeah, I mean, I think both the movie and the TV show, that James Gunn loves it. Even if there will be fewer than what we have used to seeing in the past, we'll still get plenty of them. Yeah, so many ideas for sequel enterprising. I'm sure we can. You know what? Actually, John, we can maybe do that as a fan casting Friday thing. Let's just instead of doing a fan casting, we'll just like let's see what the Superman sequel could be. Whether it's because Brainiac, there was a rumor going around, might be hinted at in this movie, so that could be a natural sequel if that ends up being true. And then yeah, Superman is just doing James a solid, exactly. Because look at the arms of Superman, and then look at the bicep of James Gunn for comparison. That's Yeah, it's kind of, you know, it's like weak sauce there. Couldn't do it. That was Cavill. Okay, all right. But yeah, he is one of
Yeah,
the
and you know
masters of
why
needle
James Gunn
drops.
is better? The no feet
Yeah. Yep.
and no N words. Thanks, James Gunn.
Well, hey, John, remember a while ago we saw that Milkbone commercial, and then I'd mentioned that they were also doing a tie-in comic book with Krypto and Superman, A Friendship Unleashed. Well, this is the cover for that tie-in comic. So this is going to be coming out in the lead up to the movie. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, the artwork looks very on point from the film itself. A Friendship Unleashed.
Yeah, no, I think we did talk. I think we saw this picture too. So yeah, it looks
Did
great.
we? Oh, all right. Well, you know what? They're just recycling some old content then. Moving on to this one. I bet you haven't seen this though.
Oh
A
my god,
crypto
this is
squishy
adorable.
light from Superman. I am gonna buy this, and I'm probably gonna buy multiples. I think this is, yeah, this is the jam.
I want this.
It's silicone, so like I'm sure you can toss it around, like it won't break anything. Like it's squishy. This is good for kids. It's perfect for kids. Maybe even for a pet. I mean, I don't know. Maybe a dog will chew that up. So maybe not for a dog, but yeah.
No, we don't want that.
Epically
We
cute.
want them to, you know, chew this up and then it
John is
doesn't-
literally searching on the Google right now to find this thing. Like, where can I get myself a couple of these squishy cryptolite? Yep. It's Jalen's like, I kind of want it, dude. I know. We all want it. It looks good. Someone forgot the scene in the Suicide Squad where Harley opened the lock with the key between her toesies. Oh, what are we talking about, Elite Easy? Okay, Enterprising is gonna punt it. I don't know, man. This is the cutest thing on the show today. Easily the cutest thing on the show today. But moving on to the next thing. More cute toys.
Not for me. Not for me.
Gujitsu.
It looks like a stretch Armstrong with tumors. No, I'm okay. Reminds me of Rescue Rangers, like, but not in a good way, like a discount Rescue Rangers.
You know what I will say though? This is the bulge minimized to the most in any of the Superman toys, so I will give it that. I mean, Enterprising thinks this is adorable, you know. So, and he didn't like the crypto toy. So I mean, you know, to each and their own, as they say. But John, I know that you said earlier you were looking forward to the Carl's Jr. collaboration. Well, here we go.
Yeah.
Because Carl Jr. in at least Mexico have been serving up some Superman burgers with like they literally stamped the Superman logo on there. So I love the meme. Somebody's like, nom, nom, nom. Give it right now. In fact, I think people were posting photos because they were like, dude, there's a Superman burger. Like, James Gunn, did you know about this? Like, people are around Mexico City over the weekend. So I can't wait to see if this ends up in the US.
Right, Caleb. That was done for plot purposes. Tarantino does it because he's weird. That's also true. Like, do we really need to see Uma Thurman's feet when she walks into her house in Pulp Fiction? No, we don't. But did we need that scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where Margot Robbie's just laying on her bed and boom, it's like a 3-minute foot shot? It's like, no, we don't need to see that. There was no reason for it other than Tarantino wants to jerk off to it later. So, like, you know, go off, I guess. Fucking weirdo.
But hey, the Glimmer cast, we have been talking about all the McFarlane toys. In fact, hint, we might have a few more on tomorrow's show because, you know, despite the fact that we have already gone past 3 hours, there's still stuff that I kept out of today's show. So we do have some more to get into tomorrow. But Swag fans like facts. And bro, it's just feet, like says Caleb. Of course you say that. Enterprising saying now I never said, now I never said I didn't like the crypto toy. I just treat it like sin. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, don't kink shame people, says Elite Easy. I don't know. Tarantino
I'll kink shame however the fuck I want to. All right? Kink shaming is my kink. All right? So fuck off.
Well, Glimmercast wants, well, yeah, was that the Selma Hayek movie? The Dusk Till Dawn? Is that that's that one. Okay. Anyway, hey, Carl's Jr. collab. Anyway, moving on to hey, one of you guys asked about the dynamic duo thing. Let me see. Did I save that comment? I don't know. I think I lost it. But one of you guys were asking about the dynamic duo leak concept art that showed Batman. So this did come out, I think, at the start of the weekend. It was like late Friday or Saturday. And well, this is the artwork. Let's take a quick look at it, shall we? because then we do have a follow-up to this. So this was supposedly the artwork that got leaked, and you see, of course, Dick Grayson in there. You see the two Robins, but then you see like a big wide shot. I love the artwork so far. You see a bit of Batman in there as well. That was a surprise for people. Like, you got Batman. This looks very much like a little bit of the artwork from Batman the Cape Crusader almost, or
but more stylized.
More stylized, yeah. But John, then later on in the weekend, in fact, I think it might have even been earlier on Monday, Swaybox Studios put out basically a message saying this is not it.
Nope, it's not real.
It's not from the film. It's whoever created it. It's not the real thing. So again, if you guys
AI.
came across this artwork,
I will say it looks cool, but like I like the idea. I love the idea of like having Jason Todd have red hair, because he technically originally had red hair in the comics, and then he dyed it. Because literally what they did for Jason Todd pre-Crisis was like literally just make him, he was just another Dick Grayson. He was another kid who was an acrobat where his parents died during a thing, and he had a red bowl cut for some reason, and then he dyed his hair black, and then Crisis happened, and then they made it so very different, and then they killed him. So but I mean, I kind of hope that they do make it redheaded, because I think that's a good creative choice to make it different.
Yeah. No, I mean, but here's the thing. It might be that some of this has some of its roots in the real thing. It's just, it seems like overall this artwork was not like official. It's not from Swaybox. It's whoever created it. I mean, or it was at some point the real thing, and they moved past those designs. And I mean, in the public eye, they're just saying it's not from us. Which, hey, you know what? Fair enough. I'm sure we're gonna have to wait a little while longer to see, what the real artwork looks like. Again, this is concept art, so it's not, to clarify. Yeah, claymation and puppets with animation is what they're going to be doing, but the concept art is not going to necessarily reflect that. But so yeah, it's kind of like, almost like the storyboards. That's what this is. I love the tan Dicky too. Well, there you go. But hey, if only it was the real thing, which it looks like it's not. So
it is not.
Yeah, according to Swaybox Studios, the movie studio that is actually working on Dynamic Duo. So, yeah, it's not the official artwork. So, this is coming directly from the Swaybox Studios account on Instagram. So they debunked it. Well, but with that, John, we have to now move on to talking about Colin Farrell and Danny DeVito came together, and I previewed this on Friday with Bridget, because Variety was advertising their next Actor on Actors episode was going to introduce us to finally the conversation between the two actors who have played the live action versions of the Penguin. So, as I've been kind of advertising it on our channel, Penguin meets the Penguin between Colin Farrell and Danny DeVito. The conversation was wide ranging. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see it. I highly recommend that you guys go and check it out, because not only do they talk about the Penguin experience with the Batman franchises that they've been a part of, but also other parts of their career, like I Love Lucy, It's Always Sunny, everything that the two men have done. It's really, really a fun conversation. And yeah, it's just the Penguins hanging out. It's really wholesome. And it's enlightening too, because whenever you watch something like this, you get to see them talk about the process in a way that, only two actors would talk to each other about. And you just feel like you're just a fly on the wall, which feels like a really, cool thing to be, obviously. John, I don't know if you have had a chance to watch it or go through any of the coverage around it, but just the idea that they got the two Penguin actors together, I think is an opportunity where like it's somebody understood the assignment, and they were like, we got to do this. Like, this is the right time, the perfect time to make it happen.
Yeah, I think this is really awesome. As Ozzy Cobb, Oz Cobb. A Tale of Two Penguin Heroes. I will say, wholesome, awesome. Both of them are the best penguin. I mean, I don't think we've gotten a bad penguin. I think Burgess Meredith, Danny DeVito, and Colin Farrell were all great penguins. Never gotten a bad live action penguin. So even the guy from Gotham, like, terrible show, but like, he was good. So it's just the horrible fat suit. We don't talk about that. So
no, I can tell you that did not happen, Elite Easy. He did not bite his nose or leak any black goo. Uh,
I hope Danny DeVito lives forever.
he's a treasure. I
I
just remember, I still love the Oscars thing that they did with him and Arnold, and then Michael Keaton was in the crowd, and they're like, you know, where is he? He's right there. He's right there. Oh, he's such the beak breaker. Is that what they called him, a beak breaker? And then yeah, he's still Michael Keaton is still Batman. He'll tell you.
I love how he wore
face.
like an ascot because he looked like Bruce Wayne there.
He
which
did.
Made
He
it
did.
even better.
It was perfect. He was dressed for the bit. I was like, this is great. That's still one of the most underrated, greatest moments of the Oscars in the past 10 years. I love it.
I don't know. It's just Conan O'Brien calling out Drake during the hey, it's the middle of the ceremony, so time to bring Kendrick Lamar out to call Drake a pedophile.
I mean, I also love the Adam Sandler bit, like with the Happy Gilmore thing.
I will say the Adam Sandler bit was pretty good. John Mulaney pointing out the horrible writing from Madam Web, that was really good.
That's just that's a low hanging fruit. You got to dunk on that. But this part of the conversation that they posted here, they're really just comparing their two portrayals of the Penguin and how there's some overlaps, and then it's kind of like they talk about how the Penguin in Batman Returns, he sort of has his like little empire, so like in the sewers, and then he's trying to like get up to a different kind of empire, like the political empire that he's after, whereas the Penguin is like more of the gangster vibe, right? And then he's trying to like move up in the world of Gotham City, which he does over the course of his show, and where you'll find him in the Batman
in
part 2.
Two different continuities. Pee Wee Herman was the Penguin's father. You know what they should do in the Batman part 2? Like, oh yeah, my father, and then it's just like we just see, and it's Paul Rubens, and just like keep the tradition going. Like, and now that he's unfortunately, much like in this show, he's no longer with us, it would work. So like it would be a good way to commemorate him, because like in Gotham and in Batman Returns, Pee Wee Herman, boom, there we go. Rest in peace. I've heard the documentary. The documentary
is great. Liz saw it and she was like, this is like vindication for him in so many ways. I haven't seen it myself, but I'd love to check it out. But yeah, I mean, hey, this is great. You guys should go check this out. We're gonna see if we can find any more quotable moments from it, and we can bring back to you over the course of the week. But I thought the whole conversation was pretty fantastic, especially this part that they picked up on BatmanOnline.com, talking about how the two different Penguins compare, because the two portrayals in a lot of ways are so different, and yet they have some thematically there's some similarities obviously between the two of them. So whether it's Penguin or the Penguin, especially because like Colin Farrell's Penguin hasn't interacted with like Robert Pattinson's Batman in the same context yet as Danny DeVito's Penguin did with Michael Keaton's Batman. So that might yet to be something that Matt Reeves takes inspiration from that older movie, and bring that some of the thematic elements back. Although again, it's not going to be like the Penguin is got a sewer in the sewer empire, and he's trying to work up to the Gotham City political heights. But I can't wait to see how Colin Farrell's Penguin evolves in the new Batman franchise, and it's just good to see that they can do this. Like, I like the first comment there. Wish Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger could have done this. That would have been amazing. What an amazing conversation. Like, you just want to be a fly on the wall as these guys are talking about it. So, but they did talk about a bunch of other stuff too. So whether you're there as a DC fan or whether you're there because you're just a fan of the two actors, highly recommend go check this out for yourself. But in the meantime, we have to finally get into what is the main event of the show, the final big main story that we have been waiting to get into, which is of course
final countdown, and then I could finally go to sleep.
Me too.
In 18 in the morning.
The difference between you and me is that I have to wake up in like 5 hours and do other stuff. You can sleep in. But anyway, I digress. Let's talk about Superman, shall we? Because late last week, Bridget and I were talking about all kinds of Superman stories. John was away on a mission. But while that was all happening, there was a story that came out on boxofficetheory.com, I believe. I saw it because I track these websites, so I always look to see like when Superman's tracking is coming up, and I was like, we are right around the on the precipice of having this happen. So I saw the story. I kind of tucked it away because I wasn't really sure how much to believe it, because again, we don't have pre-sale numbers yet from the movies, as in Superman hasn't gone on pre-sale yet, so we don't have any concrete sales data to base the opening weekend predictions off of. But you know, 5-6 weeks away from the movie, you do start to get the long-term tracking. So Box Office Theory is one of like several websites that they do this. So I saw that they did those predictions for they did those. Sorry, Caleb, I made me laugh at that comment. They've done these predictions for Jurassic World now, which is set to come out in literally a month away from now. But yeah, let's
That's for real estate.
best real estate in the world. But as Enterprising is saying, he hopes it surpasses that number. Let's talk about the long-term box office projection from Box Office Theory. So we sat on this over the weekend. Let's address it now. The founder and president of the website, Sean Robbins, he's the one who usually posts about this. His report said that as of right now, they're expecting Superman to make somewhere between 154 and 175 million, or maybe even higher, as would make it the biggest opening of 2025 by far. I mean, because even when you look at what Lilo and Stitch did, like, yes, the 4-day Memorial Day weekend did like $180 million plus, but the 3-day weekend did like 148, I think it was, something to that effect, or 158. So it's right in that range of 154 to 175. And then if James Gunn's Superman can do that in 3 days, it would obviously beat what Lilo and Stitch accomplished. So it would be quite the milestone for DC, because they haven't had an opening that big since, I believe, the Batman, which is now obviously like 3 or more years behind us, depending on whenever we get a sequel, if we ever do. But John, do you
what about Minecraft? What did that open to?
I want to say it was lower than that. I think it was like it was in the 100 billions, but I think it was like, let's see. Oh, that was 163 million actually. So 163 million domestic, 313 worldwide. So I mean that and Lilo and Stitch are kind of like number 1 and 2 on the opening weekends domestically. But obviously 154 to 175. That's
I mean, here's the thing. It's just a theory, a box office theory. Thanks for watching. Anyway, I don't think it's gonna reach that level. I genuinely believe I don't think it's gonna reach that level. Because remember when they said the Flash was gonna get like $150 million opening, and look how that fucking turned out.
Well, but you know, we're gonna get into that comparison in a bit. But that's a good point. It is a good point. But it's also, I feel like the Flash like is such a unique case because of how bad the PR situation around that movie was. I mean, like, you know, they were literally, like, speaking of trailers, Jalen, which I do think we will get another trailer for Superman before the movie comes out. But speaking of trailers, they were making trailers focused on Michael Keaton's Batman. That's how badly they wanted to avoid the main character in the movie because of Ezra Miller's problems. So I don't think this movie has that problem. I don't know.
I don't think it does either, but it's just like, I've seen people pointing that out. I'm like, oh, that is a good case of like, that's what I was referencing, Jalen. Goddamn. So, you know, I'd like to believe. Sorry, good. It's fucking 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, but you know, as far as
I get like that comparison, but like, I don't think it's gonna be that big of an opening. I don't think it's gonna beat Minecraft, because the thing is, Minecraft, it had the broccoli-haired Gen Zers making the memes, and the chicken jockeys, and the flint and steels, and the lava chickens, and all that shit. So like, you have all that crap. So I mean, I think the families, that it's going to be considered more of a family movie, because I mean, I didn't get it before Mission Impossible, but I did get it before Karate Kid Legends, which is, I wouldn't say a family movie, but it is aimed for a little bit towards more like younger audiences.
I don't have friends. I got family.
I feel like that one was due. We've kind of been working our way around that word all show long. No, but it is a 4-quadrant movie, so I definitely think that it will.
That'll help. I don't think it's going to get 175. I think like maybe like I don't think it's going to be 120. Caleb suggested 120. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's like maybe 125 to 140. I think that's a better estimate. I don't know what my prediction was for Lilo and Stitch.
I don't think any of us were expecting it to be as high as it ended up being, even because remember the numbers. So this is the thing, right? Like the Lilo and Stitch numbers kept going up. I remember the numbers kept going up and up and up, and like leading up to the release, like 2 weeks before the movie came out, the numbers rose, and then the week before the movie, the numbers rose again, and then days before the movie, we were covering it, and the numbers kept rising, 5 million, 10 million more than the day before. Whereas,
yeah,
like,
I think I
you know,
said it was like it's going to be like 100 to 120, and
yeah,
it exceeded that.
by a good
So,
margin, yeah.
but now I am wrong about that. I was just like, maybe there is the idea. I mean, I was like, play it safe a little bit because there was Snow White that just came out, so maybe they're bad word of mouth, kind of like what it was for Thunderbolts versus Brave New World, because Brave New World did terribly. So that kind of Thunderbolts took a blow because of that, I think. So yeah, I think the opening weekend could be really big worldwide. I'm curious what it is domestically, but yeah, worldwide, I don't think it's going to be 175 plus. I do think we're going to be getting a good.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say the opening for me personally. I think it's going to be 125 to 140. That's my prediction for that. I still have my prediction for overall box office gross, but I think it's going to be 140, maybe 150 at the best. I don't think it's going to be the best of 2025. Would I like to be proven wrong? Of course I would. I would love for this to make 200 million at the fucking opening box office, but I don't think that's realistic.
Yeah, I mean, to me, here's what I'll say. Like I mentioned, certain movies they trend upwards, others trend downwards. The Flash obviously trended downward the closer it got to release. Recently, Karate Kid's Legends, we were talking about it earlier on the show. They were tracking at 30 to 40 million, ultimately ended up at 21 million. Lilo and Stitch kept going up, and ultimately the number it finally landed at after the weekend was even higher than the highest the projections. So I think, like Enterprising is saying, there's going to be several factors, like how soon are they going to drop the review embargo, like what's the word of mouth going to be. They're doing an early screening, which is always considered a good vote of confidence, if you want to call it that, because me, you, John, amongst anybody else who has Amazon Prime membership, we might be going to see it as early as July 7th. And of course, they're doing the world tour, so literally the day the movie comes out, they're going to be in China. So 154 to 175, I think the good comp for this movie would be the Batman. And I know like the Batman and Superman, they're two different characters, but as far as DC movies that are not DCEU films, but like these new starts to their own, continuities, the Batman did 134 million domestically and like 258 worldwide, all total combined, including domestic. Those numbers were in the pandemic era. I feel like if the Batman came out today, it would have done even higher, could have crossed 150. So I think Superman being in the 154 to 175 range is a good range right now, because especially because when you look at this article in Box Office Theory, they're not pointing to any hard data points other than social media awareness because of like how well the trailer has been received. It broke records with over 250 million views in December. It's about like how the movie is currently tracking with social media audiences, how excited people are about it. They're also looking at how far apart is it from Fantastic Four. Superman's gonna get a couple of weeks of just IMAX screenings where once Fantastic Four comes out, that will be at least split up, if not mostly taken over by Fantastic Four. Jurassic World would have already been out for a week, I believe. And let's be honest, the Jurassic World movies, while they still make $1 billion, they're not as front loaded. So they're not the kind of movies that will, at this point in their franchise, like the first Jurassic World movie did really well at the beginning, and then I think the second one even did quite good. But since then, I mean, they make a good amount of money, but then they will just have legs. They will just play for weeks and weeks and weeks and make their money like Avatar movies do. So I don't think that's gonna affect the amount of IMAX screens that Superman will have available, or the big Dolby Premiere screens or 4DX and all the other premium formats. And then I mean those early fan screenings could really, really help its cause. And yeah, Batman has post lockout numbers like Elite DZ is saying, but it shares a character that was dragged through the sewage by its prior creators. Exactly. That's why I think it's a good comp. that this is going to be similar to that. I've been saying that for a long time now. People should compare those two. Yes, they're going to compare to the Man of Steel and such, but I think it's a more fair comparison to the Batman. I mean, yeah, and if the critics' reviews are good and those reviews are coming in even sooner than those fan screenings, then that would be great. That would be good news. Now, looking at the other aspects of this, John, 154 to 175 million. If you had to bet on it, do you think that ends up being the best opening of the year by then, or do you think there's potentially other movies that are yet to come out between now and when Superman comes out, or even after Superman comes out, that could potentially have a bigger opening this year? Because it's hard for me to think of another movie that could.
I can't imagine
better.
Outside of, as you said, Jurassic World. I can't imagine anything would be that
unless
big,
Fantastic Four goes bonkers wild between now and then. Like if they confirm Doctor Doom is in it, then Fantastic Four might be like looking at somewhere between 175 to 200 million. But I don't know. That I feel like might be outside of those two, Fantastic Four, Jurassic World. I'm trying to think. Like, we have an Avatar movie on the calendar this year, but none of the Avatar movies have opened. Well, there's only been 2, but both of them opened to like less than 100 million domestically, and then they just had legs for days, weeks, and months. So, and like Enterprising is saying, what's more important, however, is if it has legs. Because even if it opens to like 120 or somewhere in that range that Caleb was mentioning, if it has legs, that's gonna mean a lot. Like, John, like if I were to tell you that Superman made over $50 million, or roughly around that much at least, the weekend Fantastic Four comes out, which would be 3 weeks into Superman's release, do you think that's a good number for Superman to be doing the weekend that Fantastic Four comes out? Or do you expect that number to be lower by that time? Because that's really what we're talking about when you talk about legs for Superman. Oh, I think John disappeared on us. All right. Well, it's just me for now. Let's see if John can rejoin us. But guys, what do you think about the same question? How much money do you think Superman will make the weekend that Fantastic Four comes out? Like, is it still going to be doing like 50 million, roughly in that range? Or is it going to like be a lot lower than that? Like, you got to let us know, because that is what the legs for the movie will mean. Like, can it keep making 40, 50, 60 million dollars weeks after its release? How many people are going to go see it during the middle of the week? It looks like John's computer might have said goodnight to, but like, we'll see if he can join back up. Lots of people like the tone and the dog. It has me hopeful. 175. You can take your whole family. It won't scare the kids, said Elite Easy. That's a good point. And yeah, Superman does open in China. I mean, like, Mission Impossible just did like 25 million in China. So, I mean, people are liking Superman. It's getting a China release. They're going to be in Beijing the day the movie comes out. So I think they're doing this right in terms of that whole promotional tour. So that will only help its cause. So yeah, absolutely. Eric is not as much of a fan, I think, if I'm reading your comments correctly. John, I think, is almost back. It looks like it was his turn with the technical issues, but we'll get into it once he's back to see what's going on. Quorum also, by the way, putting out a prediction, a different outlet. They put out their prediction, John, which is a lot more modest, saying that it might open. We can see.
Am I here?
Yes, a little choppy.
Can you see me? Can you hear me? Am I acting weird, jagged, and slow? Okay.
A little
my
jaggedy.
Wi-Fi decided to duck out. So.
But yeah, we can hear you. Oh, now you're muted. I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, well, I'm not muted.
Oh,
so
now you're back. Okay.
Now we really gotta get this shit over with.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I wanted to mention we do have Quorum putting out their number, which is not Box Office Theory. This is a different outlet. They're predicting a more modest start of 110 to 130 million in its domestic opening weekend. So I don't know, John, just comparing this versus the 154 to 175, which number do you think is more realistic as of right now? Like, if you had to guess,
I think
between
the Quorum number.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they said this was only the domestic opening. Wait, hold on. Are they saying 154 to 175 for the worldwide or the domestic?
No, domestic. That's domestic.
They're saying that for yeah, no fucking way. No way is that domestic. No way in hell is that domestic. I can see that for worldwide, not No way is that domestic. I would say, yeah, I think for Jalen, I think he said, I think like for domestic, I think maybe like 75 to 100.
No,
Like
but like,
this is worldwide opening. I'm not.
I mean, I personally think that it can get there. I think look. Here's the thing: 110 and 132, 110 to 130 million is definitely on the horizon because, you know, like the Batman did it. It did it in March. It did like
I know.
134, 135.
I know.
And you look at other movies like Batman v Superman came out around the same time, and that did what, like 166 million, I think, even though it had a huge second weekend drop because the reviews weren't nice or kind. But yeah, I mean, as far as you guys talking about in the chat before, John, you dropped off, I was asking the question, what kind of money do you think Superman will make in his third weekend, which is when Fantastic Four comes out? Or is it's second? No, yeah, it'll be the third weekend in release because they're 2 weeks apart. Because if you're talking about legs, like even if let's say it opens on the lower end with like, somewhere between 110 to 130 that Quorum is suggesting versus the more optimistic box office theory number. Do you think if it opens at around 110 to 130, do you think by week 3 when Fantastic Four comes out, it can still make like 50 million or more? Or do you think that's too
I don't know.
optimistic?
We'll have to see because of the quality, but I would imagine it's probably it's probably gonna be like I don't know. I don't think it's I don't know. I really know because we don't know the quality of the movie. Like it could be as low as 10
Well,
million, but it could
here's
be
the
as
thing
high
though,
as 50 to
yeah.
60 million. So like
That's the thing about like the reviews. I think that's where the critics reviews, the audience, the word of mouth, like you guys have been saying in the chat, will matter the most. I personally think if this movie is still making somewhere close to $50 million or even over that by the time Fantastic Four comes out,
I'm
we
still
will
here. I'm
be
just
in a
gonna
really good spot.
check my Wi-Fi again.
Yeah. And yeah, the simplicity of the character is helping out Superman. I think what I'm starting to notice between Superman and Fantastic Four is Marvel is still struggling outside of the whole, family unit angle, like how to market their Fantastic Four movie, which is weird. I'm like, there's a lot of ways you can market it, but their marketing
Do I
feels much
look
more
better,
one
by the
note
way?
compared to Superman. Oh, way better. Yeah.
Okay. So my
way better.
Wi-Fi ducked out. I brought it back. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Perfect. Awesome. But no worries. But I was saying, John, comparing the marketing between Superman and Fantastic Four, like Superman's marketing has been a lot more effective, I believe,
Yeah.
and whereas Fantastic Four's marketing, comparatively speaking, feels much more one note. And so I don't know. I feel like Superman is gonna still have legs, especially if it's rated better. Bane will break you saying that his prediction is 250 million broken backs. I love the currency that you use, Bane. But worldwide, I think if it's 110 to 130 domestically, then worldwide 250 is definitely possible.
I don't know.
Like I said,
just
they're gonna
think
be
that's
in
a
China.
high domestic number. Maybe it's just like I don't have enough hope, which is
I think you're underestimating it. Are you like, think about this? Like, if Jurassic World is being predicted, they're predicting Jurassic World is gonna do somewhere over like 130, 140. Like, I think I had this up the other day. Let me see if I can find it. So here we go. Jurassic World is
Here's the thing though. Here's the problem with selling it to middle America. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but like there's no fucking movie theaters anymore. Like in the like you're gonna get them in like big cities, but it's just like the middle America usually gets hit the most with like movie theaters, like because they don't get those are the ones that close a lot of, like obviously the big ones like New York, LA, all that shit. Those are the ones that like stay open because there's a lot of people, but like the ones in like East bumfuck Kansas, okay, like I want you to like type in AMC if there's any, I'm sure there's mom and pop shops or like small podunk movie theaters. I'm sure there are. But like that's the thing I worry about. Like, oh, it's selling to this place that isn't part of it. any
here's the
like
thing.
aren't like part of the movie theater, like don't have movie theaters anymore. So like that's the thing that's
No, but
worrying
John,
about me.
Like Kansas City is there's incredible population center. Chicago, Kansas City, there's and those
I
are
don't know.
just
That's
two
just the
names
thing
that come
I
to mind.
also worry about a little bit.
It's here's the thing. I think the audience needs to come from everywhere, and James Gunn has done a good job, and just DC Studios in general, they've done a good job of making a movie that will appeal to every part of not only the US but also obviously other parts of the world as well. Because yes, Superman is from Kansas. He's he's the everyman American, like, and to showcase that in a way that feels more authentic than it ever has before. I think this movie is positioned better to appeal to not just the coastal areas, New York, LA, and all the big suburban areas, but also just like Middle America everywhere. And not to mention Lanterns takes place in Middle America, so that's another property. So I mean, like, people who can connect to that kind of content, like, we all love it. Like Rebel Ridge came out, people love that movie. We all want to see that kind of content. Like those kind of stories are heartwarming. They're fun to watch. Sinners is another example of a story that's about Middle America. So Middle America, Black America, from a time of back when the Jim Crow laws were still out. Like, but still, like, that is very appealing to the vast majority of Americans. And
I hope
think
so.
Eric has
I
a good
mean,
point.
I want, like, I want all these types of people seeing the movie. I want it to make like the biggest opening possible. But I just, I just worry. That's the thing. I just see a lot of hate. I know it's a vocal minority, but I see a lot of hate. I see a lot of average moviegoers like, why is this? Why do I care about this? So like, that's the thing I think of,
Yeah, I mean, look, when you look at the opening numbers here, so this is the low end, the high end, and the pinpoint numbers. So for Jurassic World, for example, for comparison, Jurassic World is expected to open somewhere between 70 to 80 million, with the mean, basically what they're expecting to have it make is 75 million. Now that's Jurassic World, but like Superman, it looks like has a lot more hype behind it nowadays, with all the marketing that they're doing. And I keep mentioning like the international number is going to be just fine, because Superman's, like, they're literally going to be. We looked at the world tour dates last week, John. They're gonna be in Beijing the day that the movie comes out. Like, have you looked into that? Like the world tour, they announced the whole Superman promotional tour. They're gonna be going.
I think, I think I saw a little bit of it, but I only like skimmed it a little bit.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that, because I think that is something, because it will give you a little bit more hope. Let's see. I think I got it up. Here we go. So these are the dates. June 19th, they start flying out, and at one point they're gonna be flying from Paris to Los Angeles, back over to New York, and then over to Beijing, all in a week's time. That's insane.
No sleep till Beijing, apparently.
No sleep till Beijing. No sleep till Beijing. But like, again, they're gonna be doing everything within their power. And like I was mentioning earlier, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning just made 25 million in China in its first week there. I think Superman can do something like that, and that's a big chunk of change, like, to add to your worldwide opening weekend. So yeah, and then people are looking for a new start. Superman gives them a new start. It's new and fresh, like Eric Walters is saying. The kaiju fight will be awesome. I mean, it's going to appeal to Asian markets. It is all, these are all really, really, good points, because it seems like James Gunn is trying to make a movie that does appeal to everyone. All-Star Superman, Superman for all seasons. The inspirations that he has naturally kind of lend themselves to a movie that's going to be appealing to as big of an audience as possible. So yeah, but I mean, Eric, I think, making a lot of good points. I mean, Enterprising was making good points, but as far as the skepticism that you have, John, I want to address that skepticism, because I knew we were going to get to this. Somebody put this whole essay together. We're not going to go through that, from Luis Fernando, but he did mention how Box Office Theory had predicted that 115 to 140 million opening for The Flash. And they did it like they did now. They do this all the time, like 5-6 weeks ahead of the movie coming out. And that's when most of the time, in most situations, in some situations this is not true, but in most instances, the pre-sales haven't started yet. Meaning nobody has bought the tickets to these movies. So nobody has bought any tickets to Superman yet. So we're not working off hard data in that sense. So these are guesstimates in the sense that they're going off of the social media awareness and other factors that they mention, the other movies releasing around it, what other movies are being predicted to make, what other comps are doing, like Minecraft, how much did that make, stuff like that. So, we should, like you said, John, take it with a grain of salt. and maybe cool our expectations a little bit, which is why I brought the quorum number in, because if you look at the 154 to 175 and you're like, that's way too optimistic, maybe you look at the 110 and to, let's see, the quorum 110 to 130 million, and you said, you know what, I can live with that a lot more. I think
I mean,
that's
I
a
said
reasonable
120 to
number.
140, so that's definitely
So,
more accurate
yeah.
than what I think. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. So
well, Henry Bradman also did the cinematography for either two out of the three Guardians movies or all three of them. I forget which one. So like that's also saying something as well.
yeah, look, just because he did here's the thing. Anybody who works on the Flash, most of those people have worked on other big movies. Like they didn't just hire like, kids off the street to work on the Flash. The fact that that movie did as bad as it did financially, and the creative decisions were what they were, ultimately the director like made those decisions, and everybody else has to kind of fall in line. I don't think it makes those people like tainted for the rest of their careers. Like you said, John, Henry Bradman's worked on a couple of Guardians movies, which were fantastic. So I don't think that'll be a problem. But yeah, let's just, I guess, curtail our expectations a little bit. Maybe not be running out the door like it's gonna make 175 or more million, opening weekend. It could do 200 million even, but like we don't know that yet, because it all depends on once the pre-sales start happening, how many people are buying the tickets, like what is that online sentiment like if we get another trailer, is that going to completely flip things upside down? And there's still over a month to go, so they could still fumble the ball. Like maybe somebody says something they're not supposed to on the promotional tour, and all of a sudden we have a controversy in our hands. Things can change really, really quickly. So all of that to say, whether it is the 154 to 175 million number, or whether it is the 110 to 130 million number, I think the early tracking is good, and it tells us a lot about the excitement around the movie. So we just have to wait and see. I think we're gonna be there in maybe even just a day's time. Like maybe by the end of this week, we might get some more accurate tracking. But then I think until the tickets go on sale, the numbers are really gonna be hard to trust. Which I think we might be getting tickets on sale next week. That sounds about right, because then we'll be a month away, and they might put out like a new teaser or some kind of like, maybe character posters. That's when we will get to then truly find out, how good this movie's going to be. So yeah, I mean, John, if I had to put my number on it, I have my finger on the pulse and figure out like what the opening weekend's going to be, my prediction right now is 150. I think somewhere around the 150 range, which would still be one of the biggest openings of the year. Any higher than that, I think we'll have to see real data from pre-sales and other closer to release numbers than what we have right now. So, and I think you are a little more reserved with your estimate, which is fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other thoughts on that? I mean, Superman early tracking, I mean, this is about as good as it gets right now. We don't have any hard data to go off of, so we can just, guesstimate, as it were. So
yep. But
all right.
That's it. Now
That's
I can
it.
sleep.
We can both sleep. I mean, guys, thanks for sticking around. I think this is now officially on record as the longest show we've ever done. Almost 4 hours. I don't think we've done it. I think we did a show about as long before, but the last 15 minutes didn't make it to the world because of some glitch that we ran into. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Chuck Rod dropping in with a drive-by right at the end saying on July 11th, you will believe a dog can fly. Yes, I'm sure we will, as well as believing that once again, a man can fly. Yeah, and James Gunn is definitely a better director. So I will leave it on that note, enterprising. I think Superman is going to make a lot of money. How much exactly, we'll find out probably in the next few weeks, just the estimates, and then we will be here to review the movie when it comes out. So hey, if you guys are new, as you may or may not know, we are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Usually our shows are around 2 hours, not 4 hours, so don't expect this every day. But until next time, until tomorrow when we are back, Liz is on the show. We'll review like 5 different movies. We'll do more DC news. We'll have some Marvel stuff, and John will be back with us. Guys, hit that like button on your way out if you haven't already. Hit subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell. We love seeing new names in the chat each and every day, and we'll see you tomorrow. And John, thank you again. We'll see you tomorrow, another episode of DCU Daily.